All right, welcome one and all to happy hour number 36, where tonight we're going to be covering True Romance, which is an absolutely fucking fantastic movie from way back in 1992. I'm currently just waiting for Gary to join us because I didn't get around to sending them the link until about 30 seconds ago, so my bad. My day has just totally fucking run away with me. I've run out of time, man. I only got finished like rewatching the movie like a couple of minutes ago. So yeah, just bear with me while we wait for Gary to come in. But while we're waiting, I'll go through some super chats just to get things started. So bear with me 1 second while I bring up the list because I know there's quite a few waiting already. Jesus. Fucking clockwork. This is what happens when you're totally disorganized like me. Let's see what we got here. All right. The first one on the list. Yeah, it comes from Chuxenhausen, and he says it's two-part chat, so I'll wait for part two in a minute. So surprising news. The Irrelevant Emmy nominations came out this week, and the legendary Cobra Kai got nominated for Best Comedy Series. Fucking yes, get in. It's long overdue for sure, so my question is this. Cobra Kai, the least woke show today, getting through the Hollywood BS to be nominated. Will that open the doors to have shows be woke-free? P.S. Hawk got snubbed. Best supporting actor there. I don't think that's going to open the doors to anything, but it's great to see it got nominated anyway, because it totally deserves it for Best Comedy. Fucking great show. But yeah, I think they'll keep churning out the woke garbage, just as always. We got Gary backstage, so I'm just going to bring him in now.
Hey!
Hello, my dude.
Hello! Oh, get over there. Okay.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Yeah, good, man. Good. My apologies for the late sending of the link, but fuck, man, I just got finished watching the movie like a couple of minutes ago, and then I had to get everything else organized. So shit. Yeah, I'm not exactly on top of it today.
No. Like I rolled out of the rack and just watched it first thing before I even had coffee. I'm just like, I want to watch it now. Because I had watched Loki and Black Widow, and I needed to watch something good to remind myself that I'm sane and that I liked Hollywood in the first place. And damn, I love this movie. I'm glad you agreed to it. It was it's perfection to me. It's in my top 5 for a lot of reasons. But
yeah. No, it's just a fantastic movie to watch, and it's another one of those films where I'm looking at it, I'm looking at, I'm watching some of these scenes, the dialogue, and I'm like, yep, this would never, ever get made today. No fucking way. And it's such a shame.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, dude, that Christopher Walken, Dennis Hopper scene is a movie itself. It sits right, like, a little before the middle of the film, and it takes up a huge chunk of the film. And, at the time when you're watching this, and we'll go through it, this is a bizarre movie because we're watching Clarence and Alabama go through their adventure, but it doesn't, aside from them, it's got like this huge cast that, by the way, outranks the stars, the people we're actually following the movie. I think they started Dennis Hopper, Val Kilmer are like the stars of this film. You can't even see Val Kilmer's face, but they go through these groups and casts that are just like, it's one brilliant like 90s star after another. And I think the one common element with all of them is everybody was on coke during the shooting of this. These are all like very famous Hollywood coke fiends. And
Dennis Hopper was fucking legendary, man.
Tom Sizemore, Chris.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tom Sizemore was loaded during his scenes. You could tell he's sweating. His eyes are like this big, but that's great. And he's still alive. I was shocked. I could have sworn he was dead.
Yeah,
but
it's just his career that's dead. But like, yeah, he's still kicking.
But damn, it starts in a comic shop. His pickup line is, he says it wrong, but who cares? You want to see Spider-Man #1? Like that. I love everything about this movie. That theme song by Hans Zimmer.
Oh man, it's one of those songs. I swear I'd heard it somewhere else, and I don't know if it started in this movie or what. But it's so I've got it in my head now. Just as we're talking, I'm still dun 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 dun. It's like fuck, I can't shake it.
No, that goes on every one of our my wife and I still do like vacation mixes, and that's on every single one. So
yeah. It's great, yeah. It's just the perfect song for like every time you see them in like driving down a road or like on the beach at the end or whatever, like the
Mhm.
two of them together. It's like perfect for them. And yeah, like it's talking about the cast there. Yeah, you've got Christopher Walken, you've got Christian Slater, you've got Val Kilmer, you've got Tom Sizemore. Like, Christ, everybody's in this movie.
Bronson Pinchot, Michael Rappaport,
Patricia Arquette,
Gary
she
Oldman.
looks gorgeous in it. She's
She
really
was
cute, and yeah,
so
it's just
hot, man.
perfect.
Yeah, she was freaking smoking hot in that. So
I think
yeah,
her boobs deserve their own credit in the screenplay.
they are prominent. They should have been nominated for best support. Well, they were barely supported, I guess, but they were.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
Those things support themselves, man. She doesn't need no support.
James Gandolfini,
Yes.
Brad Pitt. Like it's got everybody. It's got
Extremely.
everybody.
It's funny seeing Brad Pitt just in a little cameo like that. Barely in it. A very young Brad Pitt before he really hit the big time.
And I'm sure if you grew up in Southern California, you all had a friend like that. So I had Chris Powers was my friend who was just like Brad Pitt, who could barely finish sentences, had a bong in his hand all damn day. Was a good looking guy, could like pull all the girls he wanted and never leave a couch. It's frustrating, actually. I hated him.
Yeah. No, it's got all the classic elements of those like crime caper heist type movies. Like the drug boss that like stumbling across this briefcase of money or drugs or whatever it might be. The beautiful woman, the mob boss that's after you, and like the big, all the different parties who are after this thing kind of converging right in the finale for a big epic shootout. It's great, but it's paired with that great Tarantino dialogue that he's so well known for, and awesome performances by a great cast. Like it's just got everything you would want in a film.
Yeah, I don't know if this will be controversial or what. This is my favorite Tarantino film.
Yeah.
It is. It always has been. Tony Scott is a great director. I've always preferred him over his brother as far as consistency goes. I mean, his brother did the more classic films, but I like may he rest in peace. Went out like a man, said, fuck cancer. I'll just kill myself. And no, but it was well paced, and it's Quentin Tarantino edited, and like, especially later Tarantino, he just really didn't need an editor. He just left everything in. I can't imagine it, but they like Drexel, the character Drexel was supposed to be, and it sucks that he wasn't. They took out his parts of his stuff to go into Pulp Fiction. Like he was supposed to be in Pulp Fiction, and it just never happened.
Oh man, it's so funny as well. Like fucking Gary Oldman, like the whitest actor in Hollywood, playing like some wannabe black guy with dreadlocks.
Yeah, he didn't know much about the script, but then they said, "Well, he's like, what about the character?" He's all, "Oh, he's a white guy who thinks he's a black guy," and Oldman's all, "I'll take it."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, Oldman, like, he gives himself to every part 100%. And, every movie he's in, he seems to have a different accent, really different mannerisms, playing wildly different characters, and he can kind of carry it off. It's just something about the guy, eh? Like, he's like a total chameleon.
Yeah. Well, when the first time I ever saw him was Sid Nancy. So I just knew, like, that guy's going to be a star. That guy, he pulled it off. No, I love Gary Oldman's probably one of my all-time favorite actors, easily in the top 3. And it's, again, he's just in it for a minute, steals, like, each guest star, I guess, steals their respective scene. And then, we get 2 classic actors like Christopher Walken, Dennis Hopper in this little freaking Tony Scott, Quentin Tarantino movie from the early 90s, like doing one of the best scenes in Hollywood history. I mean, that's like, as far as like scenes go, you would think that's in The Godfather or some other classic movie, but it's in this like weird caper movie with Christian Slater.
You can cut the tension with a knife during that scene when they're talking to each other. If you haven't seen it before, you're like, oh Christ, what is he going to do next? Because you obviously know he's going to like torture him and all this. And Dennis Hopper's just standing up to him and staring him right in the eye and just being like, yeah, I know exactly what you're going to do to me, but I'm not fucking afraid of you. I'm just going to make fun of you. Like, what a guy.
He avoided torture. He like, there's a moment you can see where he's right, pretty much when he asks for the Chesterfield, he's like, I'm a dead man. I'm a dead man.
Yeah.
Accepting this. And I don't want to have my body parts cut up. What can I do to get killed? Oh, I know what I can do. Give him a little history lesson on the Moors.
The Moor conquest of Sicily.
Sicily. Yep. Well, that's the way they do it, you know. And he was smart up until then. His dog was smarter, who took off.
Yeah. This is the thing. Like, Clarence, obviously, like his appearance led to his death, and Clarence kind of makes a couple of dumb decisions in the course of this movie. And it's weird because on the surface, he's kind of a fairly resourceful, smart guy. Like, he's ruthless and he knows what's what, and he can bullshit his way through situations, but he also fucks up on occasion. You know, he leaves his driver's license with Drexel's body so that the mob guys can find it. So, okay, they know who he is. They track down his dad. And he gives his dad a fucking note of the address that he's going to be staying at in California, so they know exactly where to look for him.
He just does dumb, naive things, and you get this. You know, he's a lovable loser, right?
Yeah.
His comic shop boss felt sorry for him and got him, like, which is a really nice thing. If you think about that, that's like the nicest thing in the world. It's like, hey, my employee, this guy's, you know, doesn't get out much. I'm gonna get him laid for his birthday.
Yeah, just get my call girl. Like, it's the early 90s. Fuck it.
I think that, you know, I think that's a genuine thing. And then of course they fall in love. But he's a lovable loser. Clarence gets everybody killed. Like, everybody. Except for Mike. Well, I don't want to get ahead. Yeah, pretty much Clarence was a bull in the china shop. Obviously didn't know what he was doing, and then he's just impulsive and goes on emotion and instinct, and it doesn't take no for an answer, but he's likable. You know, that's the weird thing about Christian Slater. You think he would have been a bigger star. I always thought the guy was made for bigger stuff. I mean, he's had a good career and everything, but he
was in everything in the late 80s, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's been so many good films that he's been in, but it's like at some point in like the mid to late 90s, it's like everyone just stopped hiring him. And he started appearing in all these direct video, you know, shit movies. And it's like he just kind of gave up, and he's like, fuck it, just phone in my performance so I can collect my paycheck. And that's kind of what his career's been for the past like 15, 20 years. And it's a shame because you see films like this and it's like, damn, he was actually a good actor. Yeah,
he was in Mr. Robot, which started out promising and like just went down the drain as a show. It just absolutely just lost the plot. And that looked like it was going to be a resurgence for him. But then, you know, the show took breaks, and then, you know, Woke Hollywood took over, and it took a big left-hand turn, like all the other shows did, and just ended up being crap. I liked it a lot in the first couple seasons. I thought it was great, but not so good anymore. Not so good of an ending. Terrible ending, actually.
Yeah, I've heard people say that. But yeah, with Slater, like, I kind of assumed that he was having a little bit of a renaissance on TV.
Yeah,
you know, that was going to be his kind of comeback, because he's still got the acting. You know, he's still got the talent as an actor. He's older now, and he's not doing these like dumb action movies that he used to do. And maybe that's going to get him back in, but I guess it's kind of a slow process. But
he's back to. Well, I don't know if they can't. They're not going to be hiring white males anymore. But I think action would be fun. See, you know, when we get to it, they could totally. I mean, I'm surprised they wouldn't revisit this movie. It'd be terrible if anything being made now would be terrible. That's the baseline here. They use their lane.
Well, yeah, I mean, imagine that scene. And it's so fuck YouTube. Honestly, I can't say any of the dialogue in it, but. Yeah, the scene between Dennis Hopper and Christopher Walken, couldn't do that scene. You know, the scene where Alabama is up against James Gandolfini, you know, and he absolutely beats the shit out of her. You wouldn't be able to show that. No,
that's an epic scene though. That is like, you want to talk about
fight scene is awesome.
That is an epic fucking scene. Like And that's a woman right there.
Oh god, yeah, because she really takes a beating, but that's what makes it so much more, satisfying when she does win because she's really been through it, and she's up against this guy who is like way more powerful than her.
Yep.
She hits him over the head with the fucking Elvis bust, and it just shatters, and he just looks at her like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that," and that's kind of what you'd be dealing with. Like the guy's hard as nails, and it's only through like sheer grit and determination that she overcomes him, and that's
tougher than him.
Scene.
She was tougher than him ultimately. And that was and her face gets reconstructed pretty well by the end. But it's Hollywood, it's fine. But that was I mean, it was a hard scene to watch. It was like, but it was very satisfying at the end. And like, when we get there, there's a lot of unexpected things that happen that are based on chaos, the chaos factor, which I thought was a great thing. That's what Quentin Tarantino does. Like, he's like, there's a bunch of people pointing guns at each other. Of course, they're all going to fucking die. I'm like, one guy goes off. Like, do you think everybody's going to walk out of this? Like our heroes and stuff. And I mean, I love that fucking ending scene. I do.
Well, yeah. I mean, Clarence doesn't even fucking do anything. He's in the toilet taking a piss.
Yep.
It comes out in the middle of the shootout and gets hit in the face. Like it takes his eye out, and like that's it. Like it's Alabama who has to carry him out of there and save his ass.
Yep.
So he doesn't have some big glorious heroic moment. Like he just like wanders into the middle of a firestorm. Everyone else gets fucking killed. And yeah, that's. It's like when in Pulp Fiction, when Butch goes back to his apartment to get his watch, and John Travolta's just in the John, and it's just sheer luck that he happened to be in there. Like when fucking Butch is making the Pop-Tarts, and he comes out and Butch just guns him down. Like if it had been a minute either way, you wouldn't have none of this would have happened.
And that's the senseless note. Yeah, and Jackie Brown, when Bridget Fonda just talks too much to the wrong guy and fucking. Shoots her in a fucking parking lot or whatever. It's like, damn. That's subverting expectations. Damn it. Being the element of surprise, randomness, like there's a fun way to play with that. And Quentin Tarantino, I get why he's quitting. Like, I think he's only doing maybe one more movie, or maybe that's it for him.
Well, I keep saying that, but yeah, like I'm sure he'll get to that point eventually.
Well, he's still got power. He can still make what he wants to make, but I don't know for how long.
Yeah. I mean, he started to go against the grain. He started to criticize things, so it's only a matter of time until he gets taken out.
No, and I'm I like some of his movies, right? I can't say I was like the biggest fan, but I mean, Pulp Fiction is a great movie, and when I saw that, I was blown away. I felt like that was one of those movies that's a paradigm shift for Hollywood. You can feel it, like shit's going to change now because of this movie, because it was such a great opening, and you could see his. I watched Pulp Fiction because this is the guy who wrote True Romance, so that's why I want to see this movie. And it was off to the races, and I love Natural Born Killers too. And it's his later stuff that I don't like very much, but I'm liking
it's the self-indulgence I think that you get in his later movies.
Oh, Death Proof I fucking hated. I remember staying up till 1 a.m. for a preview night to watch Grindhouse. We got passes through the comic store, and I liked Planet Terror. I thought that was pretty good. But the Death Proof, which started at 2:30 in the morning or something like that, and it was over by 4:30, and I'm like, why did I just hated that movie so much? A waste of Kurt Russell. When you waste Kurt Russell, it should be a crime.
I was going to say, yeah, like when you've got Kurt Russell, man, you got to do him justice, and it's such a shame that he was in one of Tarantino's shittest movies.
Yep.
But yeah, it's unfortunate. But yeah, this is like the great combination where you've got Tarantino writing and Tony Scott directing, and so you avoid some of those issues with Tarantino's later movies where it's like very long and kind of drawn out. This guy gets right down to it. And I think you get that almost right off the bat. You get that initial scene of Clarence trying to chat up some girl at a bar. He tries to use the Elvis line on her. It totally doesn't work. And then he uses it again on Alabama, or should I say, she bumps into him at the movie theater where he's watching like a kung fu movie. uses pretty much the same line on her, and it works because she's been paid to, to get on with him and to sleep with him. But the movie doesn't mess around. Within like the first 10 minutes, they've gotten together, they've had sex, and then she's like, I'm a call girl, but I don't want to do this anymore because I've fallen in love with you. And then that's it. Boom. Like they're together. Like the movie is just straight in there.
Yeah, it doesn't mess around. And like, it was a story of young love. Hooker meets John, falls in love with John because they have a lot in common. Sonny Chiba, and, comic books and all that other stuff, but she didn't like the Partridge Family, but she feels bad. She's out there, like he wakes up and he thought she was gone, but she was out by the billboard and she like dumps on him. And I don't know if anybody else has ever had the true love thing happen in their life. It's believable for the movie anyway.
Not after the first night. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I can't say that's happened for me either, but a couple nights, but yeah. So but yeah, it worked. For one, they have a good chemistry, and she was smoking hot. I was mesmerized by all of that, so that was fine. And I'm a Christian Slater fan. I liked his I love fucking Heathers. And they always said he was like the wannabe Jack Nicholson, which he kind of was. And he played it up, and it was fine. But we're born on the exact same day, on the exact same year. So
holy shit,
he has the same. We were born, yeah. So we're the exact same age. Like we were born 50 miles apart. So we're practically brothers now, and we're like this. No,
I was gonna say you and Christian are tight, man. Like we need to get him on this stream.
Yeah, no. But that's the only movie that him and Robert Redford, I think, are the only movie stars at my birthday. But yeah, I've always liked him, because of Heathers and stuff. So, and like when I saw this, I had to see this in a re-release at some little theater down in San Diego. The Ken Cinema was still open, so I watched it on a re-release because I was occupied when it was released. I could not go to see a movie. So I remember hearing the radio ad for it and wanting to see it so bad. I'm like, God dang, this sucks, man. So as soon as I had an opportunity to see it in a theater, I did. And it easily became one of my all-time favorites. I've purchased it on every form of physical media. And it's like a movie that's probably gone down the memory hole for most people, but I fucking love this movie. And I love how it starts. And I love how it doesn't F around. It's like, hey, we meet, we go. Oh, by the way, and it starts out with an unnecessary mission. Like he doesn't need to go see Drexel at all. Like Drexel didn't really mistreat. She said he got a little rough, but it wasn't bad. It's no big deal.
This is what initially made me think, like, holy shit, this guy's a fucking psychopath. Like yes. he's going there to, basically assassinate this guy. It's like her pimp that can't find her now, and he apparently he treats her okay, but he gets a bit violent with one of the other girls. It's like, fine, not my fucking problem. Not the kind of guy you need to go and kill. But he's just like, no, I gotta do this. And I was like, holy shit, like this Clarence guy is fucking like there's a dark past to him. That was my assumption initially. It's like there's some kind of dark like past. He's like a murderer or something, and he's tried to put it behind him by working in a comic store. But like you never get that. You never get that for the rest of the film. He just feels like he has to defend her honor. No, you get the. I mean, he's resourceful to an extent, but he's more. I don't know what's the word for it. He's persistent. Like when he gets his mindset to something, he's just gonna do it no matter what, and you're not gonna talk him out of it. And he was very lucky to find the one girl on the planet who would have put up with that. So she's like, go get your stuff. And and he takes off to go see Drexel, and they let him in. Like, there's a lot of suspension of disbelief with this movie, especially with like a white boy going or a white boy playing a black guy. But I've seen weirder things. That could probably work. But he walks into like some hooker den, right? And they just let him in. Come on in. I'm here to see the main guy. Usually if you're dropping the main guy's name, it doesn't work that way, but it's fine. You get Samuel L. Jackson in an appearance. I didn't remember the other guy's name, but like, Samuel L. Jackson got
he was in the opening credits, and he's in the movie for like a minute before he died.
Oh yeah. If that, I think he's got one line of dialogue, and then he gets fucking murdered.
Yeah, and the opening line of dialogue is like eating pussy. And
yeah,
his lines were, "You eat pussy." He's like, "I eat the pussy, I eat the butt, I eat it all." Then he dies.
You can tell Tarantino wrote this shit like 100%.
Yeah, and the conversation that like we can't have here on YouTube to explain what's the context of that conversation, because there is some subcontext and context, stereotypical subcontext and context to that question that I can't.
It's so annoying. We've got to skirt around so much shit in order to have this stream.
I'm sure many in the chat will know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. So yeah, Drexel kills a bunch of guys to get the drugs that are there. So straight away you get that impression of him, like he just doesn't give a shit about killing people. And so when Clarence goes to visit him, he's all accommodating to begin with. You come in, sit down, talk to me. And he gives the big monologue about how, like, I've not told you anything about me, but you've already told me a bunch of shit about yourself just by what you're doing and what you're not willing to do. And yeah, like Clarence is obviously out of his depth already, but it just results in this big fight between them where Clarence tries to take him out. It doesn't work. And eventually ends up shooting him in the balls with his gun.
Yeah, like Drexel, like, hey, I've been telling you about myself, and you've been standing there, you got eyes, nothing for me. There's a pair of titties on the TV right next to you, and you haven't even looked at it. And Clarence I've seen the movie 7 years ago. It's blah, blah, blah. I can't even remember what movie.
Yeah.
And I'm here to give you some money. Hands him an envelope. He's all, Alabama's coming with me. And that's it. And everything in there is just to make me sleep at night. We're not here to negotiate. You're not going to get one penny more. And Clarence opens the envelope and it's empty. He's we got a Charlie Bronson here,
Yeah.
And he's like throwing the light back at him and stuff. And it's just Gary, like after watching all this Gary Oldman, like half of this is ad-libbed, right? Like, you just let Gary Oldman do what he's going to do, and you're going to get a great performance and your money's worth. And this is a scene. There's a lot of tension in this movie that gets built up, right? And then shit goes sideways, but in an unexpected way.
There's always that tension inherent with, like, you've got two guys in a room who want to kill each other and they're not ready to do it yet. They're like talking, they're negotiating, they're waiting for their chance, and you're just, as the tension builds up, you're just on tenterhooks wondering when it's going to happen. It's coming, you just don't know when.
Yep. And then it happens, and Drexel like beats the shit out of it. And what everybody keeps making the mistake of, I guess, a lot, not just with Clarence and in other cases, is they fucking stop. They always stop. Their arrogance or whatever. And Clarence gets the bodyguard grabs him, and he just gets the shit beat out of him. I mean, he's hitting him like simultaneously with each fist on each side of the face. Which, it looks good for Hollywood, but it's not practical. You get more power out of just putting all your weight behind one fist.
Well, you got to put your shoulder into it, haven't you? And you can't do that if you're swinging both at the same time. You got to really, that's where like the punch comes from.
When Shatner does the karate chops in the back, the double, he's done it a couple times in the original series, and it's like, that's not going to hurt anybody. That's not going to hurt. But yeah, he gets his ass pummeled. But then he, headbutts the guy who's behind him, busts his nose. And it looks like Drexel's got him, but then he stops. He's like, go get Alabama and bring it back here. I'm going to play with this guy for a little while. And he starts humping on him.
Oh man, like, again, that's probably all ad-libs. And I love the fact that Gary Oldman's just in his fucking underwear throughout this scene. Like, the man just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, he's in his fucking underwear at the house party, and rubbing up and down on him, and then he gets shot in the fucking balls.
Every man in the audience winces. But then, like, Clarence just caps him in the head as well, and like shoots the bodyguards, and he's like saying to the other hookers, get Alabama's stuff, and for some reason they just give him a like a suitcase full of cocaine instead of her actual stuff.
Yep.
So off he goes with it. But yeah, like the first big mistake that basically triggers the whole rest of the plot of the movie is he leaves his driver's license with Drexel.
Yep.
Which I can write that off. Like the adrenaline's pumping, you're probably not thinking that clearly. You'd forget something like that. You just want to get the hell out of there. So I can let that one go, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, because Drexel took his wallet out while he was down getting after he got pummeled. And that's how they found out where Alabama is. I'm guessing Alabama's at this address too. And if you want to kill somebody, don't bring a wallet.
Yeah.
Don't bring a wallet.
It's good that he stops off and gets burgers on the way home to see her, though. Like, he's got his Elvis sunglasses on, his face is all fucked up, but he's like, hey, I got these burgers for you, And that's when they discover the cocaine in the suitcase. And it's like, oh shit, man, what are we going to do with this? And I think that's what leads him then to go to his father, because he needs to find out if the police are going to follow up this one. And that's when you get the, Dennis Hopper's introduction. And again, just, he's not in the movie for a huge amount of time, but like every scene that he plays, he just, he comes across as just a really honest, good guy. He's not seen his son in years, but he's still willing to help him because he's in a bind. And the two of them really, they make amends with each other, I think. You don't even know what their history is exactly, but I think their parents, or should I say, like, Clarence's father got divorced. He started drinking, and he was kind of just absent for a few years, and that's what drove them apart, I guess.
Yeah, he had like, this is the first time they've seen each other in 3 years. Dad's sober. And they, he just wants to, he's a former cop, so he wants to know if he could, if they're looking for any killers or anything. The dad's like, dude, I haven't seen you for 3 years, and you're asking me, like, what makes you think I would even do that? And, he's just, you could tell he's shocked. He just found out his son got married. Then he calms down. Clarence kind of yells at him and says, listen, did I ever give you shit? Did I ever, when you were drinking, did I ever give you shit? Did I ever point the finger at you when everybody else was doing that? I didn't. And this is how you learn about Clarence too. Clarence is just like, he takes the world for what it is, right? So he doesn't trip over, he doesn't sweat the small shit, which is a very good way to go through life. And no, but he gives his dad a little what to for. He's like, I didn't give you shit. I've never asked you for anything. This is like the first time I've asked you. And then, you know what? If you can't do it, it's cool. It's fine. And then the dad's like, you could see the dad just going, okay, I was a dick. I probably could just for my son. So he does. He asks, and he finds out that they're not looking for anybody. The cops just think it was a drug deal gone bad. Had something to do with Blue Lou Boyle. And then he asks Clarence if he knows him. Clarence says, no, he's all good. You don't want to know this guy. Blue Lou Boyle is bad.
It's funny how the cops never found his driver's license.
Yeah, probably Blue Lou was there. That's what I assume, is they got there first. Like the mob got there first. According to Amazon, and I cheated, so I'm watching this on Prime, and there's all the trivia on the side, which I think is very informative. They wanted Robert De Niro to play Blue Lou, but then they couldn't get him, so they're like, we're just not going to put Blue Lou, which I think is great. I think every creative move was perfect for this. Even Les Drexel. I think less was better. I think because this thing is so, for one, it's not a super long movie. And after watching the 2 hour and 15-minute piece of garbage that was freaking Black Widow, it was nice to have a nice little tight, sexy movie,
Isn't it nice when screenplays are efficiently written? Like, this is something I picked up when I did my Loki review. It's like that could have been 4 episodes easily, not 6. Like, that was so fucking long and so like bloated. It was not needed.
Oh, dude, I was so happy when you DM'd me. I was in the middle of my Loki review, and I was just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I'm so, and then you're like, hey, you want to do? I'm like, yes. Yes. Fucking yes.
The thing is with Loki, right? Because I got a bit of pushback, I think, on my video, and some people didn't like it. And I'm curious, like, for the people in chat, right? I want to do a little experiment. Because my overall take was that it was quite badly written, and it was a bit disappointing. So if I was to say, for the people in chat, Loki was badly written and a pretty disappointing show overall, press yes or press Y if you agree, and press N if you don't. Let's see what the people think.
I'm curious about that, because
I don't know if I don't know if I've missed something. Like maybe people have seen something I didn't.
Oh, dude, that last episode was garbage. I had see. I'm not going to see your review until I'm done with mine because I just want to keep my. But I'll watch it. Yours will be probably the first one I watch as soon as I'm done. I agree with your assessment.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of Y's here. Okay, fair enough.
No, yeah. The clapback is probably the Marvel stands, and that's going to be initial and kind of loud. But no, it was a waste of time, waste of money. I have in my video, I don't want anybody to steal my idea, but I have times of how long people were sitting down and talking. I have screenshots. I had done the math of how much time people sat down and talked about things that we already knew or exposition dumps, and it will blow your mind how much actual time. And then I compare it to where time something happens. And yeah, I'll show you. I'll just do the math. It's pretty easy.
I'm looking forward to it, honestly, to hear that, because I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a third of the runtime is just people sitting, talking, and exchanging pointless information over a table
or a desk. That last episode was just that's Disney going, you know what, consumer, you will take whatever we give you. Thank you. We can just shit something out and you will buy it, and you will. And I'm not talking about you fine people, sexy people in the chat.
Your people are sexy in the chat.
Yeah. You are sexy, and you have very good taste, by the way. No, you're not wrong, dude. I got a bunch of dislikes on my first Loki review, but I got way more likes. So, but my dislike was way higher than it usually was.
Yeah.
People like Tom Hiddleston. Okay, he's like a really charming guy, and I think that's part of the thing with Black Panther. People like ScarJo. Aside from her crappy marketing before this film, she's pretty. She's usually been pretty cool. She's called out PC culture in the past. And Tom Hiddleston, like everybody loves Tom Hiddleston. So it's hard
he's
to
a charming guy, and he's a good actor. So it's fun to watch him on screen. And despite the shitty material he's working with, he is an entertaining actor to watch. It's just, you feel like he's fighting with one hand tied behind his back.
Oh, he's totally wasted, especially in that last episode. That was I don't know why these actors are signing up for this. I don't know why. Tom, you just signed up. It was like my old Technicolor job. I knew it going into it, though. They're like, hey, you're going to be a pre-mastering technician. You're probably going to work here for 2 years, and you're training your replacement from day one. And I'm like, I don't even know how to do the job. How am I training my replacement on a job I don't know how to do? It's like, oh, we train you, and then you train that guy, and then he takes over for you after 2 years. I'm like, okay, fine. The money's good. I'll do it. But that's what he did. He just handed his baton over to Sylvie, who was born before him and is better.
Yeah, you should, once you're done with your review, I wouldn't normally tell you to do this, but watch mine, because I picked up a lot of this stuff. It was not lost on me, put it that way.
Normally, no, and I'm telling this to your chat. Normally, especially if it's not something I'm reviewing, I am watching one of your videos within a couple of minutes of its release. I always get notifications for you, thankfully, and I watch it immediately. It's like, stop everything, drinker video. And they're good. They're nice. They're like this movie. They're freaking perfectly timed, concise, to the point. I tend to ramble a little too long, which I'll never be able to stop. But no, that's why people like them. And I think I know Hollywood is aware of your reviews now. They can't not be. Some of your reviews get more views than like your typical Batwoman episode, which is hilarious. I fucking love it. Loki shit. And I was very thankful that you DM me for this, because I needed to cleanse the palate, because this has been Hollywood's worst era, without a doubt. Like, this is the worst. And I'm counting the 50s, when everything was just bubble gum. And I mean, just like there was no sex, there was no violence, you couldn't cuss or anything. That era still had like sitcoms, right? Like, this era doesn't have anything now. It's
nothing's allowed to be funny, I guess, because it might offend someone. Every piece of action or drama has to follow a set formula, and there's like a million rules governing what you're allowed to do and say, and so on. And the result is everything's just kind of the same. It's just this grey amorphous blob of supposed entertainment that just doesn't entertain anyone. And it's damn, man, like it gets disheartening having to like review it and call it out, I guess, again and again, because you just get to that point where you're like, fuck, I feel oversaturated with this garbage, and that's why things like this make me happy, because it's like, oh, I can watch a movie that's really fucking good and kept me entertained for 2 hours and totally gripped.
Yeah, I mean, like I didn't even get up. So I got up, I started it, and I didn't move. So I didn't like go to do anything. I watched the whole movie right here in the dark, and loved it. And just it had me enthralled, just like the first time I watched it. It's been a few years since I've seen it.
Yeah.
I saw
it. I was going to say, like, I got like to the last half hour. I had to do a bunch of stuff, and I'd forgotten that I'd forgotten that I hadn't made it all the way to the end. And so I was sitting there getting ready for this stream. I was like, hey, I'm all done. I'm all ready to go. And then it was like, oh, fuck, no, I've not finished the movie yet. I had to like put everything else on hold and just go watch it. And like I finished with it like 2 minutes to go before we started. Fucking hell, I just forgot.
And that last half hour is so good.
I know, yeah. There's like shootouts. There's people getting fucking beaten to shit. It's perfect. I just love this comment in chat as well from Jeremy R. Moreno saying, "Drinker, I love you. Please marry my mom." I'm already promised to Tatiana, so I can't do anything with your mom.
Yeah, talk about Tatiana.
Okay. Yeah. She's my Alabama.
She's on that. Never mind.
Yeah. But yeah, like, so, I mean, within the movie, Clarence makes peace with his father. He's able to reassure him that, the police aren't looking for him. And he goes on his way, gives him like an address for where he's heading, because he wants to head out to LA to get out of town, because why the fuck wouldn't you want to get out of Detroit in the early 90s? It's a fucking shithole. And so he's heading out there with his friend Dick, who's an actor who can help him shift this cocaine, because he doesn't want to like sell it on the street or anything. He just wants to do a one-time deal and get shot of it so he can make a bunch of money. So it makes sense to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, he calls Dick and he's like, well, you're an actor. You all do cocaine. And Dick's like, yeah, I'm not a working actor. And you see like this is where like the reality of the movie, I think they amp it up a little bit for caricature, for parody, but like, no, this is fucking Hollywood, especially in the early 90s. They play this so fucking good. And Detroit's a shithole like all the time. It's a shithole.
It's like they shot it in winter as well, so everything's like bleak and cold. It's like snowing, like it's just like gray slush on the streets everywhere. It just looks like so fucking depressing.
Yeah, you don't want to go there.
It's like Glasgow, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know if Glasgow had like a golden age. Like Detroit used to have a golden age, like in the 50s. Right.
It did, yeah. Glasgow was big on shipbuilding back in the 40s and 50s.
Yep.
All of it shut down in like the 70s and 80s. And yeah, just for quite a while, it just became an absolute shithole. I think it's regenerated quite a bit now, but yeah, back in the day, it was just an absolute disaster.
Yeah, no disrespect to anybody who lives in Michigan. I hope it turns around someday, but it's not. It doesn't have the best reputation. But I was in Northern California, Oakland. Oakland's not much better. It's cleaned up a little bit, but it's not much better. It's pretty toe up. You don't want to get. I almost got carjacked in Oakland, so
nice.
Yeah,
it's the same story everywhere, though. Like every country's had like their boom and bust periods, and when you get the busts, like all the industry goes under. Those towns and those cities that depended on it, they just like get left to rot, and it's the same everywhere, really.
And Tony Scott's directing is like he paints the picture like it is dreary, but like when you're in Clarence's pad or you're in the comic shop, he makes it look sexy in a way. Like I don't know, I don't know. I've never directed a film, so I don't know the technical term of what Tony Scott does, but Tony Scott's directed some great films. He's done, and like he did a lot of TV stuff too. But if you look over his IMDb, he's done some good stuff. And this obviously is, my favorite by his, but he did, I love Days of Thunder, right? Beverly Hills Cop 2, Top Gun, The Hunt. Like, these are fucking great movies, man. So the guy had it, and he tailed off towards the end. I think, let's see, he did Crimson Tide. That was great. I like The Fan, although, Man on Fire, Domino, Deja Vu. That was pretty much his last one. I didn't like Domino very much, but I like Man on Fire.
I think Keira Knightley's going to have a tough time passing off as a bounty hunter. Like, it's just,
Yeah. Well, and she was based on a real person who ended up dying before the
the thing is, you just look at her and it's like, God, I've shit out things heavier than her. Jesus.
Yeah. I'm not too worried about a supermodel that weighs 110 pounds. It's not gonna scare me. Oh, he also Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone did the video for that too.
That's superb.
Yeah.
Kenny Loggins, like the most 80s of 80s pop stars.
No, the thing is, Tony Scott. What reminds me of Tony Scott directing is the Beverly Hills Cop 2. Like, it's pretty much the whole movie was shot at the golden hour or whatever it's called. Because just the look of that movie. I think they caught a lot of that in this. And that's why.
Well, you get the contrast, don't you? Because when they go from Detroit, it's like it's winter, it's bleak, it's cold, it's grey, everything looks like shit, and it's all washed out. But then they get out to LA and like the sun's shining, there's palm trees. It's like it's permanently sunset. Everything's golden and like warm. Everyone's going around in like Hawaiian shirts. Like, it's just that kind of contrast of cities.
Yeah, and it's not like that. It's pretty shitty. LA's pretty crappy place outside of like those nice areas they showed you. There's lots of bad. But the pacing of this, I love that he gets on the phone. For one, there was one scene where he's in the bathroom and he's talking to Elvis. So he's Val Kilmer plays Elvis that you never see, and he like gives him little pep talks. So Clarence is he's delusional. Like, there's something wrong with this guy. And I don't know if there was ever meant to be more context, but I don't think we ever needed it. It was fine. I didn't feel like I needed to know more about Clarence. Like, he's willing to kill a lot of people and talks to Elvis, but he seems to like his girl. So,
I like that aspect of him, that maybe he's just a little bit nuts.
Mm-hmm.
It makes him interesting. I think it's fine. But he's like a lovable nutter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what you want in a hero,
Yeah. Kind of a very fallible hero. But yeah, so they take off. His dad says he loves him. It's a nice little scene with Dennis Hopper. And Dennis Hopper is an actor that I've always loved Dennis Hopper, but then I read I think it was a Rolling Stone piece of like his last years. He was dying of prostate cancer. And then you find out like Dennis Hopper was the biggest asshole in the history of all Hollywood. Asshole to his kids, asshole to everyone, pulled a gun on Rip Torn and then said Rip Torn pulled the gun on him. Did just some terrible things, and he should have been a bigger actor. I mean, he's considered Hollywood royalty, right? A little bit, maybe not as big as Jack Nicholson, but like Dennis Hopper was a big name, but he never really starred in anything. He always took bit roles. He was a villain, but he
always had that look about him, like he was a character actor or he was an antagonist. I think he would have struggled to be a leading man, but. Yeah, like Rip Torn was a bit of a fucking nut job in his own right. Like, he attacked like a director with a fucking hammer at one point, which they caught on film.
Yeah. Oh no, the Dennis Hopper. They were basically saying like this guy was like a drug addict. This guy was like a drug addict who just got a film career, and he was always on and off drugs. But he was like, they had painted a picture of Dennis Hopper back in the 90s, right when this movie came out, that he got sober for a little while, and he was like this nice, sweet guy who's recovered and he's not doing no. When he got sober, he was still a big asshole. He was a big asshole to his family until like the day he died. He was like horrible to people. It's like, oh, that sucks. But he's so fucking good in this. Like this is honestly one of his best roles. Like just playing the sober kind of confused dad just for a minute. So Clarence takes off. They call Dick. They get a hold of Dick. They fucking in a phone booth to Chantilly Way.
Yeah. I love how they can't keep their hands off each other, and I think that's what this movie captures so well. Like, they're both young, they're both hot, they're both like into each other so much. They're in these high pressure situations, and they just want to fuck like all the time. Like, it's great. Like, I love it. It just totally gets that, you know?
Yes. And God, remember when kids, all they wanted to do was get laid, right? Now they just want to like dress up like rams and do fucking TikTok videos.
Now you have to feel ashamed if you feel attracted to the opposite sex. Yeah. Do you hate yourself yet?
The only thing we can, I guess the only thing that's good is we're not going to continue this because we won't procreate as a race. That might be a very good thing.
Well, I mean, I think the people who shouldn't procreate won't, and so the rest of us will, and we'll be fine.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, so they head out to LA, and that's when Walken arrives at Dennis Hopper's his trailer. And that's when you get that great scene between the two of them where they've got him at gunpoint. They want to know where his son's gone. He's not going to tell them shit, but he recognizes that they're going to torture him. They start like punching him and they slice his hand open, they pour like alcohol on it. And you get this just incredible monologue from him about Sicilians, which I can't say, but everyone knows.
The Moors conquered Sicily, and when in ancient times, well, they probably do it now too. When they took over a country, they did things to take over a country. It was very deliberate what they did to take over a country, because countries were essentially ethno-states back in the day. And that's all I'm going to say on that. So Christopher Walken did not like the story, although he laughed at the end.
Oh yeah, well, it's that really like aggressive kind of laughing and smiling where it's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, man. He's like, he kisses him on the cheek and stuff, and then he just stands up and caps him, and that's him killed. Which it was kind of a dumb thing for him to do. He obviously got provoked into doing it because that's what Dennis Hopper wanted. It's like, you kill me, and what I know is going to die with me. But then, when he'd written his son's address on the fridge, and that's where they get it from. So it was all for nothing ultimately.
Yeah, all for nothing, and it went to hell. And Clarence has no idea that Blue Lou Boyle, who we never see, and Christopher Walken's character, who we never see again, so they are still very much alive at the end of this movie. And what happens is up to your imagination. They just go about their business trying to get this drug deal done. And Dick knows, I can't remember the character's name, even though I just watched the movie, is Bronson Pinchot from Perfect Strangers, is in this, playing a douchey little producer's assistant.
Yeah.
A typical LA douche. And he's going to be the middleman for a drug deal.
I love how they meet him on a roller coaster. Like, they go to an amusement park to meet with the guy and like take him up on the roller coaster, and he's like thrown up and crying and stuff.
It was Magic Mountain they were at, which is just north of LA. It's a fun place. Lots of good roller coasters that go upside down.
Yeah.
I love so he gets sick all over his. For one, he's got the Tide sweater around his neck, which is like,
oh, that's a sure sign of a douchebag right there.
Worst. And it's kind of a long shot, but yeah, they managed to have a conversation with the producer, and
it's a great conversation as well because it's all in movie terms. I've got the Dr. Zhivago of deals for you right now, and the producer's like, I'm not interested in being a distributor. I just want to produce good movies.
Yep. And then he's all, well, once you get doctors, it'll fill up the theaters for months. You won't have to worry about any other movies after this one. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it works out, and after that, it's the setup. We see the mafia is all getting ready to go over there, and God, what was the next scene after that one? After they said yes, they go back. Oh, I'm gonna have to.
I think that's when James Gandolfini rocks up at the apartment where Brad Pitt's just like smoking his bomb.
Yes.
And, he's just really helpful because he's like, I'm looking for Clarence. Is he around? It's like, no, he's gone out. But he tells him the hotel that he's at and everything. And so off he goes. And that's like Clarence has left Alabama alone for a little while. I think he's gone out to get food or something like that. And that's when Gandolfini shows up. And it's a really, again, one of those great tension building scenes where something's gonna happen, but she's like playing it coy, and he's being really all laughing and stuff.
Sorry, I'm catching up.
You're watching the movie.
I was just about to. Okay, so there's the roller coaster scene we had. Yeah, you're right. So Gandolfini is there talking to freaking Brad Pitt. I love right after their conversation, he's all don't consider me, man.
Can't even get the words out.
Can't even get the fucking words out.
Brad Pitt is a stoner. It's just great, man.
Yeah. So they're all set up at the hotel, right? Then Gandolfini goes over there. You're right. Clarence goes to get some food, and boom, he's in the hotel room.
Yeah, and it's great because, like, he's being nice to her and stuff, and he's like, you're a cute little thing, aren't you? And he's like, why don't you do a little turn for me? And it's like, no, the other way. And just as she spins round, he fucking hooks her one and knocks her out. Jesus. Like, again, that's a scene you just would not be allowed to show nowadays.
No. God, yeah, and they're intercutting this, right? So they drag this one out, which I think is perfectly paced. It's hard to watch, but then they go back and Clarence is she's bleeding. He orders hamburgers. She's bleeding some more, wakes up, and he's just beating the shit out of her at this point.
Well, he's monologuing as well, like about how the first guy he killed, he fucked it up because he was so scared, and then it gets easier with each one, and now he just kind of enjoys it, so you can like see the look on their face when he does it. Like, just a guy who's like obviously done horrible things in his life, and he's sharing it with her right before the end. And then she grabs like a penknife, Swiss Army knife with a corkscrew on it, and he's like, okay, I'll give you a shot. And he's like, even rips his shirt open. He's like, one free shot, because I like you.
He finds
and then she just stabs it right into his fucking shoe.
He finds the drugs under the bed. He's like, oh my fucking God, they were here the whole time. They were under the bed. And, this is after he's beat the shit out of her, and he's got a gun to her head. He's like, this is it. And she's like fucking defiant. She pulls the fucking this corkscrew and holds it up, defiant till the end. And he's like, you got heart, kid. And that's when he's like, come on, take one more shot. She fucking smart, nails him in the foot. He fucking tosses her, and they beats the shit out of him some more. He throws her through fucking glass, and then she sets him on fire.
Yeah. Because initially she hits him over the head with a bust of like Elvis, and it shatters, and he just looks at her, like that wasn't enough to knock him out, because he's a hard bastard, and that's not going to be enough to put him down. And again, if this film was made nowadays, she would have just laid him out with one punch, and that would have been it.
She would have done one of those kicks where she wraps her legs around his neck and then flips him down with her legs, like
the patented Black Widow move.
The Black Widow move, yeah.
But yeah, like like, here's a little hint, everyone. Like, it's really fucking hard to knock a person out.
It's really fucking hard. Like, you knock a person unconscious, like, with your fucking fist. Like, Mike Tyson can do it. And you have to be
if you're a heavyweight fighter, you catch them right on the chin, you might do it, but otherwise, it's gonna be really hard.
No, because I've had my bell rung and I've maintained consciousness, and then a couple times I couldn't really tell the difference. I don't know why I lost consciousness one time over another, but he's still like, oh my God, I'm looking at this again. While Clarence is at the burger place, he's just talking to some random dude about an Elvis Newsweek article.
Yeah.
And then, but like, yeah, she sets him on fire and then starts like bashing his head in with his gun with that fucking badass.
Well, then she shoots him with the gun as well, and like splatters his entire skull apart. And kills him, and that's just like, wouldn't you know it? That's when Clarence finally shows up, and he's like, "Oh shit, we need to get out of here,"
And there is nothing left of that guy of Gandolfini. She is fucked up though, like she is like badly messed up, and
and isn't it great when movies actually show the results of getting beat up?
Yes,
it's not like in Black Widow where she like breaks her own nose, and then 5 minutes later she's perfectly back to normal. Like, when a person gets their nose broke, their face is fucked for like weeks afterwards. Like all across here, you're gonna have like bruising and like hemorrhaging underneath the skin. It looks horrific.
You look like a raccoon. Okay.
Yeah, you cannot just break your nose and then reset it and be back to normal. It doesn't work like that.
Oh, it doesn't reset perfectly either. Trust me. So yeah. I mean, like, I understand she's Black Widow. She's a superhero. So, but like wince, go, that stings a little bit. But she didn't even like it. She just did it, went, my nose is still perfect. There's just some blood right here.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Well, when it happens, like your eyes just stream with tears. Like, it's not even about whether you're tough or not. It's like, it's your body just does it automatically, and you can't fucking see. So like, she would have just put herself out of action by doing something as dumb as that.
Yep. But
yeah, the world of Marvel.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie. And we're wrong, obviously.
Clearly, yeah.
No, like, she gets fucked up and her face is fucked up. Now they put makeup over and stuff, but they do a decent job for Hollywood of keeping it. Clarence gets like actually worse later. But yeah, they take off from there, and the next scene is it's Bronson Pinchot. Like, I can never say his last name right, so we'll just say Bronson Pinchot or so, whatever his fucking Perfect Strangers guys. Is in his boss's car with a hooker and gets pulled over for fucking speeding, and he got a sample bag of coke, by the way.
Yeah, the whole bag, and it's great because it's like he's telling her to hide it, like in her bra and stuff, and she won't do it. And then she just like they're wrestling over it as the cop's getting closer, and it just sprays up in his face. He's covered in coke.
And he's busted, and then like, this is where the movie gets crazier, because we keep meeting like these fucking, and all of a sudden Tom Sizemore and Chris Penn, and it's and some character actor, I forgot who the guy's name, who's been in like fucking everything. Ed Lauder. And they're just in this quick little scene together, and you get cool fucking moments. They're talking about like, this guy's an assistant to a Hollywood producer. What did he produce? Oh, Body Bag. Oh, that's a good movie. Yeah, it was damn good. Yeah. It's so fucking LA, because I mean, like, Hollywood runs the show in that town. Like, it did.
But isn't it great though as well? Like, you just see these guys, like they talk and they act like fucking men. They're swearing at each other. Like, these guys are just eager for a bust, and they want their boss to sign off on it. And they're like, yeah, we rolled this guy like a fucking whipped dog. He's an absolute pussy. It's just great dialogue from like guys who have actually been doing this stuff. They don't sound like effeminate pussies like you get nowadays.
No. And they actually called the guy a sissy and other things. So Bronson rolls on everybody, and they're like, this guy will roll on his fucking mother. We got it all. And they're like, and the captain's like, we're gonna have to bring in internal affairs, and Tom Sizemore's like, I don't give a shit, bring in fucking anybody, I just want credit for the bust. And they're like, you got it. So he's gonna wear a wire. Elliot Blitzer is his name. Elliot Blitzer.
Yeah.
And then we go back, and lo and behold, we have a scene between Clarence and Alabama, and he's cleaning her up after getting the fucking shit beat. Like, her nose is fucked up, everything about her face is fucked up. They're on a couch next to an airport, talking about how much it sucked. He grew up living next to an airport, and he always wanted to be, he was living next to the place where people going on their business trips, going on vacations, all the shit I could never do, and you get a sense that that's what he's, he just wanted to get out of Detroit. So he takes.
And who can blame him, really?
Yeah. Oh no, shit. I want to get the fuck out of there too. Then we've got, they go back to Dick's place. Dick gets the part, by the way. Dick was auditioning for a part in T.J. Hooker.
The new T.J. Hooker with a William Shatner who was 65 years old by this point.
Yes.
Because this would have been after Star Trek 6. So, fuck.
Yeah, this was 92, right? This movie came out in 92?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know definitely what I was doing in 92, and it wasn't going to see fucking movies. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
So they say goodbye. Dick gets the part. And you know what? He stops and he wants to say something to Elliot, and he never does. He's all, Elliot, I want to tell you something. And he's all, what? He's all, never mind. And we never find out what it is.
Yeah, that always bugged me. It's like, what the hell was he going to do? Because he didn't know anything about what was going to happen. He didn't have any insight into this. It was just, I guess a character moment. But I suppose that's what happens in life. Sometimes things are left unsaid and you don't quite know what people were going to do.
Yeah, maybe he wanted to stay instead of go because he just got the part. Or maybe he was just going to tell him, hey, be careful, man. Let's be careful. No, I have no idea. I wonder what the trivia says. Hang on, let me get over there. I'll get to that part. Maybe it says something about it. Connections. Nope. Doesn't say anything. Too bad. Somebody asked Quentin Tarantino, like, what the, well, that might have been a Tony Scott decision. Quentin Tarantino chose the name Alabama as an homage to Pam Grier, who was Alabama in Women in Cages, 1971. There you go.
Because it's not it's not your typical stripper name. Normally it'd be like Crystal or something like that, or Tatiana.
Quentin Tarantino sold the script for $50,000, which was the minimum amount of money that could be paid for a script at the time, according to the WGA rules.
Wow.
That's a good chunk of money. I mean, 50 grand.
It is, but not if you're Quentin Tarantino. Damn.
No. But I'm wondering, was that his? No, because he had already done Reservoir Dogs, right? So
he would have got back end stuff, though. Surely that would have been part of his contract.
Absolutely. Dude, his name was everywhere after Reservoir Dogs. I started hearing this name, like, and I don't know. The mystique was this guy used to work in a video store or something like that. And he just started writing scripts, and the mystique started, and a legend was born, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, he once said, like, I never went to film school. I went to see films.
Yep.
And that's how I learned how to make movies. And it's like, okay, can't fault you there, man.
No. I don't know. I don't want to say film school's a waste of time, but film school's a waste of time.
Yeah, it is, especially now. Like, maybe back like 20, 30 years ago, it would have been worth your while, but don't do it now.
No, I took a course at San Francisco, like the San Francisco State adult school and it was a video intensive, it was called. So they took all no theory at all. They just handed you a camera. They gave us Final Cut Pro, and we were editing on the first day. We were shooting and editing on the first day. 4-month course. And the 4-month course was 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. And by the end of that 4 months, it was basically all of film school in 4 months. And it worked. Like, that's like, I learned so much because they were just jamming you with stuff, and there was no fucking boring speeches at all. You were always doing something impractical. That was cool. It applied to YouTube. I don't know what I was going to do with it. Like, when I went for jobs in LA, like none of that stuff applied to any of the jobs I ended up getting. It helped me get the jobs, but I didn't actually do anything I learned except for editing later. But no, it's a waste. If you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't. But now art schools are like an industry here. I don't know about like over there, but In San Francisco, there's a San Francisco Art Institute. It owns the most land in San Francisco. It's like there's buildings everywhere, and people are paying $100,000 a year to send their kids there. It's stupid. It's a racket.
I mean, I think with yeah, to kind of pick up on what you're saying there, I think you can teach people the technicalities of making films or telling stories or whatever, but you can't teach a person to be creative. I think that's a thing that they either have or they don't. They've either got an imagination or they don't have it. And I don't think any amount of courses or schools or anything like that is going to change that in you. And it's unfortunate because there's people that desperately want to do it, that they don't quite have it. There's other people that have it that they never realize they've got it. And, you know, that's the world we live in. But that's, in being my experience anyway, that's kind of how it works.
There might be another Quentin Tarantino in some village, you know, and he's probably like only seen TV and doesn't have access to all the other stuff. But a film, it is you making it in Hollywood. You can work in Hollywood and it can be steady and you can make a decent living as like a middle kind of class creator. If you hustle your ass off, you have to hustle your ass off. But to actually make it there, it's like winning the lottery. You know, it's tough. It's really it's a brutal town.
It's like anything. It's like, you know, you want to make it in the music industry. You want to make it as an artist or a writer or anything of those things. It's always like that top 1% that have that combination of talent and luck and timing and all of those things that just combine together to allow you to get up on top. And it's not always definable. It's not always one of those things you can pin down and say, yep, that person did X, Y, and Z to get themselves to that point. It's just being able to spot opportunities, having a bit of talent, having a bit of luck, and all of those things work together to get you there.
Yep. And then sometimes you get there and you fuck it up. I'm looking at Chris Penn. Died 2006 from heart disease, drugs. He was 40. Effing 40. His dad was a well-known filmmaker. Of course, he's, you know, brothers to Sean Penn. Famous.
There's a million actors that live fast and died young. Yep. You know, you fucking James Dean back in the day. You had like River Phoenix, like all of these guys who just had short careers. They burned out, or they died in accidents. They overdosed. There's so many things that can take these guys out. And yeah, it can happen so easily. There's other people that just fuck up their careers and their career dies, but they keep on like living, you know, right? It's easy to do. Yeah, no, it's sad. It's sad. Oh, he was in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang too. I forgot about that. That was a good movie. I like that movie. But yeah, so we got Bronson Pinchot. We've got Elliot Blitzer is getting wired up and he's, you know, freaking out. So Chris Penn and Tom Sizemore are trying to calm him down and, you know, just like, don't worry about it. We'll be in. If anything happens to you, if somebody put the gun to your head, we'll be in there like stink on shit. Don't worry about it. I love whenever a policeman says like, oh, don't worry, we'll protect you. They absolutely won't. You know? And they will never get there in time to protect you if something goes wrong.
They do not care if you live or die. They just want the bust. They will serve up anybody or anything to get that bust. They're assholes. They can be major assholes, by the way.
Yeah. It's just I love because I love there's a bit in the elevator when they're going up to meet with whatever his name is, the big movie producer, and Christian Slater wants to test this guy, and so he pulls a gun on them, and he's like, "Yeah, I know something's up. You fuck. You're gonna tell me exactly what's going on." And the guy's crying and begging for his life. And the police officers are just listening to this over the radio, just laughing their asses off. It's like, yeah, I think he's going to shoot him.
And then he's all, no, he's not. Like one guy's like, and then towards the end, he's like, no, oh shit, he's going to shoot him. Don't break, Elliot, don't break. And Elliot's like, I just want to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
He's totally big enough to where, you know, Clarence just kind of like backed off. But that's his instinct. He knew something was up, and then they go in and they meet the producer, and he's playing. I guess they're thinking about a sequel to Body Bags, and there's a bunch of getting to know you, and Clarence has a gun, and the bodyguard sees it. By the way, if anybody doesn't recognize that bodyguard, he played Thor. Eric Allen Kramer played Thor in Trial of the Incredible Hulk, like the TV version of Thor. You know, I don't know if you ever watched these. Back in the day, they did a Daredevil TV show where Rex Smith plays Daredevil. Holy
shit.
Yeah, so like it's with Lou Ferrigno Hulk. So yeah, Daredevil, Thor, and Hulk all met each other on like really crappy TV shows, and this guy was the TV version of Thor. So there's
I mean, he's got that look about him. He's got the blonde hair. His fucking neck is thicker than my waist. You know, big dude.
Yeah, I think he's still like he's big weightlifting dude. I don't know, but yeah. So he notices the gun, but the producer keeps interrupting him. He's like, you know, he keeps on saying, "Hey," and he's like, "No. We're meeting each other now. Quiet, Boris." So they sit down and they have their little chit chat. Clarence, doesn't Clarence like jam him up at this point too? They start talking about, you know, the coke, and then he walks away from Elliot, so the cops can't hear him.
Yeah, so Elliot's like scratching his groin as well, which fucks up the reception.
Yeah.
I think that's when Clarence just straight up says, like, look, I'm totally out of my depth here. I don't know what I'm doing. I just want to shift this stuff and make some money and get the hell out of here. And that's what wins him over, I think.
Yeah.
When he's just honest about it.
And yeah, you could tell they start liking each other, and like things look like they might be going pretty well. You know, they might get their money. And unfortunately, we have another party is about to show up. The mafia guys. Oh, and Elliot Blitzer's like sweating his balls off, and he's scratching his fucking balls. And yeah, so they're all sitting down. It's chit chat time.
Yeah, and then the police burst in.
Yep.
The bodyguards, they've got their Uzis because it's the early 90s and Uzis are still everywhere. Fucking love them. And then the mafia guys show up at the same time because it's a crime caper movie, so everyone has to converge at the same moment. And wouldn't you know it, Clarence is in the John, just taking a piss and talking to imaginary ghost Elvis, which is... I just love that they got Val Kilmer in for this role where you don't even see him. Like, you just hear his voice.
No, he's blurry in one reflection at there's like here I can share it. Here's the best shot you get of fucking Val Kilmer in this, which is excellent. That's it.
Let's see if I can see it. Yeah.
Look at
that's pretty much it.
Yep. And it's and like just delivers a couple of lines, but that's how well, for one, Bob and Harvey Weinstein produced this movie, so I can imagine how every star showed up in it. It was probably Harvey Weinstein calling in a favor. Harvey Weinstein was really trying to help Quentin Tarantino out. As horrible of a guy as he was, I guess he saw Quentin Tarantino kind of like as his little surrogate son, and he was trying to help him out, thought he was talented, and well, he was right. And yeah, fucking everybody's in this movie. And that's how they sold it too. They're like, this is the best cast of any blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's just a fucking random cool thing. And it's another layer that makes the movie cool. Totally unnecessary. You could cut out both of these parts and it wouldn't make a damn difference to this movie other than it makes it cool.
It makes it cool, and it makes Clarence quirky and interesting and different. And yeah, I just love the fact that like when he needs to psych himself up for something, he imagines Ghost Elvis talking to him. I like you, Clarence. I've always liked you.
Always have, always will.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's great.
Yeah.
And so he wanders out, like just as this massive shootout erupts, where everyone's getting fucking gunned down, everyone's getting killed, bullets are flying everywhere. One hits Clarence right in the face, takes out his eye.
Well, the shootout was Elliot Blitzer breaks. So we've got the cops and the bodyguards facing off, and even the producers like telling his bodyguards to fucking chill out. And Boris is all, no, I haven't told you this. I fucking hate cops.
Yeah.
Bronson Elliot Blitzer's all, okay, so I'm done here now, right? I can just go. You've come in for the bus. Gonna leave now. And then the fucking producer just loses his shit. He's all, what? You did this to me. I treated you like a son. And he throws some liquid like booze on him or something.
Like coffee. I think it's coffee or something like that because it's in like an urn, like it's really hot.
And the fucking cop shoots him.
Yeah.
Tom Sizemore shoots the producer, and that's what all fucking hell breaks loose. And Tom Sizemore gets like fucking just riddled with the Uzi.
He forgot his vest.
Yep.
And one of the other cops gets gunned down as well, and then I think like the Boris is lying there dying. He's like, I need an ambulance, and like one of the other cops just goes up to him and it's like, I'll give you a fucking hearse, and just caps him off, kills him. But then one of the dying bodyguards like kills him as well, so everyone wipes each other out.
Alabama kills him. Alabama kills Chris Penn.
I thought it was the guy who was wounded kills him and then dies himself.
No, the cop. Okay, so one cop dies in like the fluff of feathers. I thought it was Alabama. Hang on, I just watched this movie. You'd think I would. My memory sucks. So
he kills Boris, and I think that the other, like Boris's mate, who was also dying, like
Monty.
Him.
Yeah, let me go see. What? Maybe it was Monty. Yeah. Well, they cut away. Right, they cut away. I thought it was Alabama who killed him.
Yeah, well, someone's saying in chat here, Alabama shot the cop, but then other people are saying there's two very different cuts of the scene.
I'm watching a director's cut. Yes. So I am watching a director's cut, so that might be different because the regular cut wasn't available on Amazon Prime. So maybe that's it.
I wish I'd thought to look on Amazon actually, because I had to pay for it on Sky to watch it.
Oh,
like a fucking chump!
I had to rent. I rented it on Amazon. It was $3.99 to rent it. Totally worth it.
Okay, yeah.
You know what? You know what's stupid is I could have fired up my Blu-ray player and popped it in my Blu-ray player, but
that's the price of the effort it took to like go and get the disc. You know,
I have a projection room, and it doesn't work that well during the day, so it's got to be night, and it's very bright out here. So I'm just like, plus I was fucking lazy. Let's be real. But they get shot, and the rest of the mob is down in the lobby of the hotel taking hostages, and you kind of lose track. Like, you don't know what happens. Well, the drugs, Alabama throws the case of drugs and it gets shot, so the cocaine's gone. It goes everywhere, and the mob is trying to leave. The ones who are still left, the cops show up, and we just leave the scene, and we don't know what happens. Alabama takes a very wounded and fucked up Clarence out. He's got a bandage on his face. And then they're headed to the border of Mexico. We flash forward, and we've got a little scene where they've got a kid, and they're walking on the beach, and she says that great line, I just look at you, and you're so cool. You're so cool. You're so cool. And they name the kid Elvis. They're playing that great fucking Hans Zimmer song, and the movie's over. It's just,
and he's got his eye patch.
Yep.
You know, like a proper pirate now. Yeah, what a great way to end the movie. Like the two characters that we cared about the most, who have been together since the start, like they make a go of it. And I don't know if they walked away from that with the money that the producer was going to give them, because there was a suitcase full of money. I don't know if they managed to get that out of there, or if that was left behind during the shootout.
That's a good question.
I assumed they used that to start a new life or something, but maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe not. Let me see if they're carrying a suitcase at the end. I'll check, because honestly, I wasn't paying attention to that. What do you think, chat? Maybe the chat caught it. They usually catch those things. So,
because I assume they used that to start a new life. Some people are saying yes, they did. Yes, they got the money. Yeah, she took the money. Yeah, okay. Well, I think it's pretty unanimous.
Yep, she's got the money. Okay, she got the money. That's clever.
Yeah, so they used that to start their new life and lived happily ever after. So yeah, what a beautiful movie.
Great movie. And like, that's why I was like, why is this called True Romance? And well, we know. I mean, that's all it is. It's a love story about a couple surviving. We don't know what happens to Lou Boyle or his consigliere or the cops, or do they investigate? Is there did Blue Boyle follow them down to Cancun or wherever they went? Nope, don't know. Doesn't matter because it was not about that. It was just about Clarence and Alabama.
Yeah, love it.
And how
great
they met.
movie.
Yeah.
Great dialogue, great actors, great cast, great characters. Just brilliant film. Totally satisfying. Like never had a moment where I was bored or losing my way with it or anything. And God, Hollywood, but just take note of this. Make movies like this now. That'd be nice.
And why is this thing good? In its simplicity, this movie couldn't, aside from the cast, as far as where they shot scenes, did it require effects and no, it's for fairly cheap. There's no fucking CGI. So you just got a bunch of fake guns, a little bit of explosions in a hotel room. The major, again, there's no huge set pieces. One the best scenes are ones in a fucking trailer and the other one in a cheap hotel room. So it's in its simplicity. It totally fucking works. Yet it's a beautiful film. Tony Scott is very good. Him and his brother both have that in common. They can get the best out of lighting and stuff. They're they make very pretty films.
They capture the sort of, I don't know what you call it. It's like that gritty look, a very atmospheric sort of look that you got with movies in the late 80s, early 90s, where it just looks like everything really looks lived in. Everything looks really, like it's a real place. It looks like it's been used lots. And that's what you get in the places like Detroit. Everything's kind of run down and decrepit and stuff. And LA is all vibrant and you've got the golden sunsets and everything. But again, it's just got that atmospheric look to it.
And that's a Scott brother thing. They, fucking Blade Runner and even Beverly Hills Cop 2, which I don't know. I like it just as much as I like the first one. So I think it's a slicker directed film because of Tony Scott. And it even has that look. Even fucking Days of Thunder, which didn't take place.
Oh, that absolutely had the look. Yeah, Days of Thunder is basically Top Gun, but with cars.
Cars. Yep.
It's like I always loved that look about older films like that from the 80s, where it's like even just in a room where people are on computers or something, there's smoke hanging in the air.
Yes.
And so you see light, beams of light filtering down through it, and it just looks so, it's like you can cut the atmosphere with a knife. It's just beautiful. Love it.
And that stuff's gone. And you think it would, especially with higher def, you can play with that so much, and it would help hide shit too. Oh, I forget. Tony Scott,
the problem you got nowadays is so many of the environments aren't even real. They don't exist. They're just green screened.
Yeah, that they're green screening shit. They don't need to green screen anymore. Yeah. Outside, it's they're gonna have to figure that one out soon. But Hollywood's going to be going through a change. It is right now. Things are going to be swinging independent. They're going to have to because they're digitizing, right? So, and I brought this up before, and so have many others. Look at every other industry that's gone digital and what's happened to it. It gets decimated. It's absolutely decimated because there's just no way to, for one, it gets easier to distribute, which means it's easier to pirate, which means you're up against other stuff that's easier to distribute. You're also up against video games and YouTube and everything else, and the coof and less theaters, these bloated $200 million films that are just garbage. A similar thing was happening in the late 80s, which brought us that independent thing in the 90s when things got a little smaller and crime films came back and and they started telling, which led all the way up to Chris Nolan's Memento and brought us that. It was great little run there from 92 to 2002 or 3 of really cool, fun, independent films.
Yeah.
We're due. Or it dies. Because
there's always going to be a demand for entertainment and movies and spectacle. People are always going to want that. And yeah, the only thing that's going to make Hollywood change course is losing money, ultimately.
You're right. So, Dave, you've heard of Dave Cullen, the content creator, Dave Cullen.
I have, yeah.
The ginger
forever.
Computing Forever. Did a great video yesterday, talking about like everything, we kind of cover, and ultimately saying at the end, like, we need to still, I'll break down his sentiment like this. You mainly cover film. That's what you do. I cover film, pop culture, but what we're all doing is we're informing you. We're like, hey, this is what we like, or this is what we don't like. And I don't like Black Widow, and here's why I don't like Black Widow. And it's weird now that it's not storytelling decisions they're making political decisions, which is affecting their story, and it's a real head scratcher because they can make more money but that it's not about money anymore. So what he said at the end is what we need to continue to do is inform, mock, sarcastically,
Yeah.
which, that's the bet, because that's the one thing that they hate, and not buy it. We can't buy it. I mean, I hate to use the word boycott. I don't think I have that kind of power, but that's what I don't buy any of this stuff. I gave up buying Marvel DC Comics after 40 plus year habit. I don't subscribe to Disney Plus. I part of my gig is covering stuff. And if I have to pay, because I don't like to steal, but if I have to pay something, I will. But I think overall, if I hate something, I think I'll talk more people out of going than going. Which is not my goal. My goal is to watch a movie and like it, by the way. But we need to stop buying this shit. You're right. It just needs to be, we need to cut it off at this point, because it's purposeful. They're tearing this shit down. What Dave said in his video is right, is like, we're the boss of this shit now, and we can take that thing you loved and built over decades and fuck with it as much as we want, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. And that's their motivation right now. Mm-hmm. It's not to entertain. That's part of it. Part of it is, sure, they want to make money, but part of it is, oh, this is going to piss off people. It's to troll.
Yeah, I think this is the only aspect I disagree with Dave on is the idea that they don't care about making money. I think they absolutely do, but I think they've been walking this path where they would tolerate all this political garbage that they put into things because they're told that it's what people want, and they've surrounded themselves with activists who convince them that that's what everyone wants, and so they just go with it and they invest in this. And as long as the movies keep making some kind of return, they don't care too much. But I think when it really is going to bite is when they have flop after flop. And we started to see it before the beer bug. You had Terminator Dark Fate, you had like Birds of Prey, like just a bunch of like movies that tried to push all this stuff that failed spectacularly. And that's the point where I thought, whoa, it feels like things are turning. This is the tide turning right here, because they can't just keep releasing movies that are like losing $100 million a pop. And then, everything just got basically put on pause for a year. Like, There was no movies coming out, so you couldn't gauge whether things were working or not.
Hollywood fortified itself, and then they started smelling their own farts again and thought, well, woke is what people want. And no, the audience sentiment didn't change at all over that year. So you're right. The tide was turning big time. Fall of Skywalker was a massive failure. That's after the failure of Solo. Like, things were turning around. The only one who hadn't failed was Marvel. Marvel is yet to have a failure, but they guide the town. They absolutely make money doing this, and they do have a financial incentive. And part of it is grants and tax write-offs. Somebody was talking about this. So in California, they get massive tax write-offs for filming here, and Gavin Newsom, our governor, has doubled them. So you're going to see, because sometimes they go to Australia. That's where Marvel films, down in Australia, or Star Trek and other places in The Expanse are filmed in Canada, because it's just cheaper to work there. Now it's cheaper to work in LA. So you're going to see a lot of stuff stay in LA, because they're trying to, and what they do is they offer these, because LA charges an arm and a leg to shoot on location. Well, they've now cut that out. So they have a huge financial incentive to stay home, and all they have to do is abide by some guidelines. And some of those guidelines are inclusivity, diversity, and social awareness. True story. So there is a financial incentive to this. and it's nefarious.
But I think even tax write-offs are only going to take you so far. They're not going to earn you revenue at the end of the day. Your film still has to make some kind of return. And I think if they fail hard enough, then they'll rethink. But yeah, it's right now we're just trapped in this loop where they're not learning their lessons. And Marvel is the best at this, for better or worse. Like, they've got so much momentum and so much fan goodwill behind them that they can get away with some degree of this without it hurting them too much. But I think what you're seeing is that they push harder and harder with this. They're like, oh, how much of this agenda can we work into this product or that movie or that TV show? And I think they felt particularly emboldened with the TV shows because they didn't have to invest as much money in them in the first place. And my sense is that they give you a little taste of what the movies of Phase 4 are going to be.
Yes, and for one, all this stuff was made 2 years ago too. So this was like during the change, and I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. And there needs to be like some massive flops. I don't think I didn't expect Black Widow to. I thought it would do well. I don't know if I thought it would do this well, and this well is adjusted after a lot of finagling. Originally, this thing was supposed to have $140 million weekend domestically and do $800 to $900 million worldwide. And who knows, it might. I have no idea. But like Marvel needs, if Marvel gets a big failure, that will shock the entire town. It'll rock them to their foundations. When Solo failed, it rocked Disney. Absolutely rocked them. I know it's been a couple of years, but remember, they stopped everything they were doing and changed course on one film. So it can work. We just got to stay home. I think, when the Oscar ratings came in and they saw that nobody's watching the damn Oscars, that rocked the town. That was
so satisfying to watch.
Beautiful. That was a victory. And all you had to do was not watch. And it's pretty easy because it's unwatchable.
Yeah, it's like, what? The peasants don't want to watch us sniffing our own farts for 5 hours? Like, what? How could this be?
I know. How can where are we going to get on a soapbox now and tell the peasants what to do while we're wearing $250,000 dresses? The peasants are fucking sick of this shit. And after a year of watching Hollywood root on the destruction of our country, people are still mad, and they should be. And I hear a lot, and it sucks to hear this, right? But I mean, I can't blame people. They're like, I'm done. I just don't watch anything modern Hollywood. All I do is I watch older stuff now, and it's like, I can't blame you. I keep trying, but we're also here to inform. But Shang-Chi is not going to be a great movie. It's going to, at the very best, it'll be a mediocre movie. Probably a story about a bad dad. The Eternals is probably going to be a hot mess. What If? What If's a pretty interesting comic book series for Marvel, but it's going to end up being what if we race and gender swapped every character, pretty much. And then we got Spider-Man at the end of the year. That's the only one that might possibly be good. And that's stretch as far as Marvel's concerned. Suicide Squad's coming out in a couple weeks. It might. Yeah, but I'm not super excited.
The trailers have made me feel nothing at all, but I'll go and see it. Maybe it'll be good. I don't know. I'm kind of like you. When it comes to modern movies, I never really get excited about any of them anymore. It's almost like I go into it with trepidation. How badly are they going to screw up this character that I like or this series that I like? Whereas, go back 10, 15 years, I used to get really excited about the summer box office, blockbusters. I used to really love seeing what was going to come out this year. And I just don't feel that anymore.
No, planning my weekends, I would go to the theater every weekend. It's do I see 2 movies or 1 this weekend? And for Marvel movies, it was fun. There was a group of us who always went when I lived in San Francisco. It was the same, actually, it was a couple people from Lucasfilm, a friend of mine, and me during the comic shop days. And we'd go with these big groups of people, and I'd pass out comic books and we'd have a good time. I can't think of the last trailer I saw where I went, oh, All right, that movie looks effing good.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that one. Maybe for no
Dune, I'm interested in seeing. I think that will be good.
Dune.
I'm
Good.
cautiously optimistic about that one.
The trailer looked pretty good for that one. I think that's going to be a tough sell for the normies. But
yeah, it's not that accessible.
Yeah, and it needs to be.
But yeah, like I'm not excited about James Bond. I'm not excited about any of the Marvel movies. I'm not excited about the fucking Indiana Jones 5 with like 80-year-old Harrison Ford. You know,
how bad are things like that? James Bond, Indiana Jones, and just a Marvel movie. And none of us are that excited. I mean, I'm sure there's some people going, I'm kind of looking forward to that. And I'm sure there's that rare person who's like, I've been waiting all my life to see a Shang-Chi movie.
Yeah.
You know, and that's fine. But like, dude, they need to fall flat in their face. This should have been the year to do it. Maybe I'm wrong though.
The problem you're going to have is like this is like not a normal period that we're living in terms of box office revenue or anything. So like whenever a movie fails, they can just say, well, people weren't going to the theaters because of the coup or like lockdowns or whatever else it might be. Like streaming services are taking over. Like all the previous metrics are totally meaningless now.
Are things opened up in your country?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we're more or less back to normal now.
Okay. And for a little while, they not a threat looming over of shutting you down again.
I mean, for a while, like start of the year, you couldn't go anywhere or do anything. Like everything was shut.
God damn it.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was when I walked into the movie theater for the first time, I was pretty cool. Like I got that smell, the popcorn. And the son had a big smile on his face. He's like, I miss this place. You know, I'm like, oh, yeah, that was cool. Okay, that's fine. So we sat down. We watched the trailers before Black Widow, and they all sucked. They all effing sucked. I'm like, I can't remember the last time I just sat through a bunch of movie trailers and I didn't like one. As a matter of fact, I can't think of a single time that I've ever sat down and not at least been semi-interested in a movie. And I know they're holding back still on stuff for some reason. I don't know why. Probably because they might lock it down again around winter. Be prepared for that. It sucks.
Oh yeah. Fucking, it's coming, man. It's coming.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. That's why I'm moving. I'm moving to a state that probably won't lock us down. But like it's so frustrating to think about that. No, this is the time for Hollywood to shine, but I mean, the shine is gone at this point, and they went all in for streaming, and streaming's not going to be the answer. There's a limit to how well you can do. And I've said it before, like, look at the music industry, look at how they've fallen from prominence. They're still around, they still make money, people still like music, albums are still sold. It's just not the same as it was 20 years ago, or even 15 years ago, or 10 years ago. And we're going to see, and honestly, I don't know. We're going through this adjustment period, and what always will win out is good quality film for mass entertainment. And all they need to do is the easiest thing is not be political. Find a good writer. I mean, The Joker is probably the last. Is it the last great movie I saw? Ford vs. Ferrari was good. I've seen some good movies, but the one that blew me away was The Joker.
Yeah.
That blew me away. And that was an accident. That's a cosmic accident for Hollywood. They're like, oh, give this guy some money and we'll leave you alone. That
felt like, obviously it's a completely different movie from True Romance, but it had that sort of same vibe to it, where it's gritty, it's, completely counter to the kind of safe, predictable norm of what you get in movies nowadays. And that's something that like me and so many other people had just really missed. And that's what grabbed people. And you think, damn, there's such a market for movies like that we're just not getting nowadays. It's not that hard, but it's like they don't want to give people what they want.
No, you think about that. Like if you look at the script for True Romance, it's not a super complicated script. It relies heavily on that Quentin Tarantino dialogue, period, end of story. It's, and shocking events and really, really good dialogue. And I would love to see that, something like that crap Loki it probably could have been saved if it had clever dialogue and clever storytelling.
If Loki had been paired, like if you got a good director and a good screenwriter, they were paired up together, it could have been really great.
Yep.
Because the premise is cool. You've got like all this like cosmic stuff, like interfering with time and space, like free will versus like control and safety and everything. These are interesting things to deal with, but if you've got amateur writers, like you just end up with a show that's bloated and repetitive and redundant, and that's exactly what we got.
It is, and it was sad. And when I see an older film, like, yeah, maybe I sound like an old curmudgeon, get off my lawn, it was better in the old days, but it really was. And I mean the old days of 5 years ago, it was better. Like like Hollywood was on its way to being, I thought it was headed towards another renaissance. I was seeing some really interesting things, some very freaking cool things, like the Legion, like Fox looked like they figured out the X-Men for a minute. We got Deadpool, we got Days of Past and First Class, and it's like, whoa, what is this? They figured it out. A little
like we got Logan. It's like fucking after 20 years, you finally figured out how to make a good Wolverine movie.
But yeah, think about it. We had X-Men First Class, we had Days of Future Past, we had Deadpool and Logan all come out within a couple of years. And it's like, whoa. And that was all because Fox had to pick up their game because of the MCU. So competition breeds, innovation. They actually treat the X-Men well. We actually got a good, Bryan Singer, whether he directed X2 or not, we got a movie that was just as good to me as X2 with what was, already a pretty messed up X-Men, but they kind of figured it out at one point. We got some costumes. I didn't even like Deadpool in the comic books, but I liked the movie. It was great. That was like things were looking good. And then something happened. Something happened that stopped it all dead. And we all know what it was. And now that part is over for now, Hollywood's picking up the pieces, and we're a million miles away from something like True Romance, and we shouldn't be. Like True Romance is not a politically incorrect film. It's got one scene, so what? It's got one scene in a time where people would talk like that.
Yep. And Quentin Tarantino, for some reason, is able to get away with that in his scripts. In a way that so many other people absolutely wouldn't. But I think even now, if he tried to do it, he would get seriously like set upon,
Yeah, and it must make like filmmaking no fun at all when you're walking in there and Hollywood brought this on themselves. But when you're walking into a project, you're like, oh, I just got this cool deal, but God, I can't write half the shit I can't write. I gotta I gotta check myself. I mean, is this sexist or is this racist? Is somebody going to misinterpret it? Is somebody with an anime avatar going to start a cancel culture campaign against me for writing something wrong in a script? It's like,
it's the death of fun, and it's the death of entertainment and good storytelling. And we're watching it play out. It's great. It's like a slow motion train wreck over a period of years.
And what I'm confident of is you guys will find something else to do. Like you said, there's always a demand for entertainment. So somebody will meet that need and we'll find it. And maybe it's already happening.
Well, you look at comics, Western comics have died a death because they got like woked into the ground. Manga's taken over and everyone loves that now. And that's just like selling like hotcakes. The demand's there, like you just have to provide the supply and like away you go.
And maybe somebody will adapt some manga and do it right and it'll be a hit, and then Hollywood will try to copy it and wokeify manga and it'll be a miserable failure.
My God, imagine woke manga.
Well, they'll try. They will try. Oh, they will try.
I was going to say as well, like there's quite a few super chats. I don't know if you've got time to go through a few, perhaps.
Well, absolutely.
All right, cool, man. Stephen Lineto says, Hail Drinker, watch Father Jack throw a bottle into a TV set. I felt that in my soul. Yeah, Father Jack's fucking great. How about a review of Delta Force? Chuck Norris is waiting. Yeah, oh man, you can't beat the old Chuck Norris movies, like, fucking hell. Polaris Sucks says, never watched, but now I will. Yeah, definitely watch True Romance. It's a great film. RRTNZ says, Hail Drinker, Lagavulin fueled literary lord. Hail Gary, king of the nerds. Thrilled that you legends are discussing this film. I may have mentioned it to you in a super chat last month. Pure 90s magic, one of Tony Scott's best. R.I.P. Well, nice one. I hope you've enjoyed us talking about it in that case.
Yeah.
Nigel Milliken says, Drinker, who would win in a bare-knuckle boxing match? Brie Larson or Tessa Thompson? Fuck.
Tessa Thompson would smirk her to death.
Yeah, she's got the smirk going. Yeah, I think Brie Larson's probably bigger and got a longer reach as well, so I think she could probably take her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Tessa Thompson's forehead could probably absorb quite a bit of blows, so yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
They're going to be in a movie together too.
Bring it on. Honestly, it'll be glorious.
Because the next Avengers, I'm sure, is going to be a culmination after this awful Phase 4. So it'll be the new Avengers. It'll be Falcon, Cap, Rhodey, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, Carol Danvers, and freaking Tessa Thompson and Wasp. It'll be mostly women. It's gonna, like you can see, it's gonna be awful.
It's fuel for 1,000 videos, honestly.
Yeah.
Unhinged Entertainment says Drinker plus Nerdrotic equals my true romance. Must be White Boy Day.
It's White Boy Day today.
Yeah. Next person, I can't read their name because it's in Japanese characters, but they gave me a hot dog super sticker, so thank you. RRTNZ says, great live stream, boys. Drinker, congratulations on your all-black debut. Gary, that's rugby. 5 tries versus Tonga. Nice effort, son. What the fuck? Hey, gents, what's your favorite bit of dialogue or quote from this film?
I can't say. I like it when he's like, you want to see Spider-Man #1? Like, that's your pickup line on
I thought that would appeal to you.
that gets me right here. So, yeah.
I think, it's got to be the dialogue between Dennis Hopper and Christopher Walken, just because knowing the situation and knowing what's going to happen to him, the way he delivers it is just fantastic. So that would be mine. We'll just say icons. 2 icons just doing what they do best. It was just chewing up screen time and absolutely beautiful scene. Because remember when Christopher Walken was still considered to be quite a serious character actor?
Yeah.
Instead of just like a parody of himself, which is what he is now. That was back in those days. And yeah, it's cool to see him do it.
Oh my God, his appearance in fucking Pulp Fiction. He died.
That monologue about the watch.
Yeah.
Your daddy died of dysentery. He gave me the watch, and I shoved it in my ass for 2 years.
Yep. So fucking good.
Brilliant. Grand Wazoo gave me a popcorn super sticker, so thank you. John Ogletree says, call me an ambulance. I'll call you a hearse. This is for Cody. I'll always love that line. Yeah, it's a good line. Rod Thunderheart says, hail Drinker, hail Gary. Love Christian Slater since his first roles. What's your favorite sports movies? Have you seen Charlie Sheen in Major League? How about Scott Bakula in Necessary Roughness? If not, might you review them?
Major League is one of my all-time favorite comedies as far as sports films go. I think, and the owner is based on Georgia Frontiere of the Rams. It's a football team, but that's what the owner was based on for baseball. But favorite sports movie, like it's got to be Rudy or Brian's Song. That's just an old school one, but Brian's Song.
It would probably be the Rocky, especially the first one, like Rocky 1. And The Longest Yard, like the original Burt Reynolds one, probably be my favorites.
Yep. Longest Yard's so damn good, but Major League's up there. Unless like if it's golf movies, then it's Happy Gilmore.
Oh yeah.
Sports movie, but love Happy Gilmore.
Let me see. I'm just trying to find where I was because I've refreshed it. Fucking hell.
Hate it when I yeah.
Yeah, it's like you've got to work back.
8 Man Out's good. I saw 8 Man Out in the chat. Hoosiers is great. Rocky, yeah, Rocky is Rocky. Yeah, Rocky. That Rocky would be it. Yep.
Oh yeah, here we go. So
King.
Yeah, Rog H gave me a thumbs up super sticker, so thank you. And Chris Alver gave me $5, so thanks, man. Nerdrotic's humongous back. I can't see the rest of this. Says, Hail Drinker and Nerdrotic. This movie forces Sicilians to scream as it puts them in their place. IndieWire GK. I love this film. Yeah. Yeah, imagine if you said any of that stuff about any other ethnicity apart from men, or white men. That would be it.
You could always see Space Jam this weekend. I heard it's great.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you got LeBron James in something, it's guaranteed to be good. Ackles Floozy says, you loquacious lush. I've never seen this movie. I guess I got to watch it now. Yes, do so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. That's two people who said, oh, wow. My wife is telling me breaking news. Southern California Comics was robbed. Oh, shit. Oh, this is my local comic store.
Oh, shit.
Motherfucker. They're lucky they didn't get more taken. Somebody tried to break into their place the last time I went. Like what I started doing, totally off subject. Like I just took all the shit home. I took all that collectible shit, went into a bunch. It was a pain in the ass, but it went into some cases and it went with me.
Yeah.
It was under my bed. So if you wanted to rob it, you would have to kill me. That's what he's going to have to do. Sorry to break into that. That's what my wife was just telling me there.
So is this the kind of shit that just happens?
Yeah, it's happening a lot, especially with what's going on here in America right now is people have lost confidence in the police since defunding the police. So robberies and crime has gone up absolutely everywhere, especially here in California, and they are absolutely fearless now. Absolutely. So they're break it. So that's all what businesses need. We're just coming back, and they're getting broken into left and right. And there's not enough cops to do anything about it. And that's what happens when society loses confidence and respect for law and order. So it's fucking bad. Man. It's bad.
I mean, robbing a comic book store as well, of all the places to rob, it's not like, I don't know, like, it's not like there's any high value items that you could just immediately pick out and be like, yeah, I need that. I can sell that on easily.
Well, now the idiot's got to find somebody to sell it. And Jamie knows, as a matter of fact, I'm probably going to put the word out myself. Like, I'm going to tell him what got ripped off. If you see this stuff on eBay, let us know.
Yeah, totally. Like, it's a pretty close knit community of people that are into all this stuff.
Pretty fucking stupid shit to sell.
No, I hope they're okay.
Yeah.
Neil Parr here says, long time watcher, first time donator. So thank you very much then. Two of the best people talking about one of the best 90s films ever made, Hopper versus Walken scene. Wow. Yeah, just like we were talking about.
Yep.
Profound Lore Records says, great movie, but they should have stuck with the actual original Tarantino ending, I think. Would that have seen Clarence get killed?
Yeah. No, I like the happy ending. I'm good with the happy ending.
I think considering all the stuff they've been through, I was all right with it. Yeah, I feel like they've earned that.
Without the happy ending, it's not true romance. It's a bleak movie, and I don't think and usually I'm fine with not every ending has to be happy. I understand that, but for this movie, it absolutely had to be. Like, no way it couldn't have. I'd have hated it.
Yeah. Knuckle Hunky Buck says, it's hard to mention true romance without me hearing that musical score in my head. Yeah, fucking hell. It stays with you. Clark Terry fan says, has one of the best monologues in human history. The Sicilian one with Dennis Hopper, legendary. Absolutely. Genotri, I can't say this one. Maringwaru says, he gave me €5 super sticker, so thank you. Doug Keller says, the all-American classic True Romance. Great film. Excellent. Saint says, True Romance, I understand the sentimental sap of the sauce that is The Drinker, but Nerdrotic, you surprise me, sir. Only kidding, this movie is one of my mother's favorites. Gary, have you seen the 2016 slasher movie Hush?
No, I have not. I'll have to see that one.
But yeah, just for the record, like, it was Gary who picked this movie, because me being the organized chap that I am, I basically approached you yesterday and said, "Hey, want to do a stream tomorrow? What should we do?"
And I had to give it a good think, because I was really going to lean towards a Marvel movie. I'm like, maybe we should like do Iron Man or something, just to remind us what was good. And I'm like, no, fuck that. We haven't talked about True Romance, and I wanted to see if you liked it.
Yeah, absolutely. That was definitely a good pick. So pleased that I've seen it. Louis the Plank says, "Hail guys, great to have my two favorite channels to talk about this movie. That scene with Dennis Hopper and Christopher Walken is one of my favorites. I think there's not many people that would argue with you there, mate." The Craig Lee Lawrence Experience says, "Hail Drinker, and sorry Gary for my horribly out of context super chat on your stream on your old shop's closing. Definitely got to rewatch this film."
No need to apologize ever, especially for a super chat.
Yeah, totally.
Totally okay. Thank you. I'm sorry if I probably butchered it reading it. So the reason I love this movie regardless and always have. But you know how sometimes a couple will have their song. This is like mine and my wife's song, this movie.
Oh, brilliant. That's a good choice though.
Yeah.
No, I like that. Fred Sacco says, "I'm descended from the Moors, and I take no offense to that scene."
Hey, you won. You did what you did when you win.
Yep. Saint says, "What are y'all's thoughts on Romancing the Stone? I know it's a strange contrast to tonight's topic, but I'm curious to know." It's interesting you should ask me that, because someone asked me to review it. So I watched it last night before I watched this, and I really enjoyed it. It's an interesting sort of movie that I think is written from the point of view of like the heroine of the story rather than the hero. And Michael Douglas is just fucking awesome in it. So I enjoyed Romancing the Stone. I thought it was a good film. It's definitely not a complex movie, but it's a fun little like adventure story.
Yeah, it was. It came out in a time when, like, for one, it was like Indiana Jones was pretty. They tried to make Indiana Jones like adventure movies a lot after Raiders of the Lost Ark came out, and I think this was one of them. Even though it's nothing like, it's just a little romantic comedy, fun. That's something I didn't like it when it came out, and I liked it later when I was an adult and I watched it. When I watched it as a kid, I'm like, wow. But I was a picky kid, so
yeah. People in chat are saying is like back when Kathleen Turner didn't channel Michael Keaton. The years have not been kind. But yeah, she was beautiful back in this movie.
She was hot, and she was the voice of Jessica Rabbit.
Was she?
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did not know that. I just know there's a lot of scenes of her in like a wet blouse. Because like it's Colombia, so it's raining all the time, and like she's wearing no bra, so it's like perfect 80s movie.
Gorgeous, and then she wasn't.
Yeah,
immediately. Yeah, it's like some women can stay gorgeous forever, and then some can't. Same with dudes,
Yeah. Time is the cruel mistress.
Time and sandwiches.
Yeah. Ryan DeLucci says, "Hey, honestly, this movie doesn't do much for me, but it's a blast watching you both chew the shit. So yeah, cheers." Thank you. I'll say cheers to that, man. Very much. Beep Bop Boop says, "I love that they used the Badlands theme in this." Indeed. Jake Blankenship says, "Christian Slater was a victim of the looks a lot like Jack Nicholson syndrome."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was all everyone used to say about him. Doesn't he look like a young Jack Nicholson?
And he tried to act like it too. I think he played into it too much. But he was part of the Rat Pack. He was like second generation Rat Pack.
Yeah. Gerald Armstrong says, Drinker, Hunt for Red October, do a review. Yeah. Love that film. It's like the ultimate dad movie. It's just, it's good, fun, well-constructed thriller that's got really tense scenes, and they do the whole submarine thing really well. Not sure about Sean Connery playing a Russian, but yeah, who cares?
He plays his Russian as well as he plays a Spaniard in Highlander.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta suspend your disbelief.
Oh, man.
Damn good movie though. I like it. And Crimson Tide's better, but
yeah, definitely. But this is good. Yeah, Ryan. Most things in here don't react well to bullets. John Wayne says, "Hail, y'all, Drinker. What do you think of Kelly's Heroes, and would you do a happy hour about it?" I'd happily do that, because Kelly's Heroes is a great movie. Talk about an all-star cast. I mean, you've got like Donald Sutherland, Clint Eastwood, Telly Savalas, fucking everybody's in that movie. It's just great fun. AJ1218 says, two of my favorite YouTubers, Drinker, get a glass of whiskey on me. Nerdrotic, I will see you in the rooms later. I've got plenty of whiskey on the go, so thank you very much. Kathleen says, Hail Gary and Drinker, first time super chat. The scene with Alabama was painful to watch, but they didn't make her out to be a victim. It was empowering. Yes, it was, because they actually showed her overcoming a physically superior opponent with sheer fucking grit and determination.
Yep. Yeah.
His weakness was that he underestimated her, and that's how she beat him.
And that's exactly why, if we want to switch it over to Black Widows, that's why they exist. So the Black Widows are not a Delta Force. They're not a fucking Navy SEAL team. They're not a blunt instrument to be used for muscle. They are used because they are underestimated, because they're supposed to be covert and use their sex appeal to mesmerize men, to put poison in their drink, or fucking slit their throat while they're sleeping, or steal some files after they screwed him and he's sleeping or taking a shower, and they get the hell out of it. That's what the Black Widows are for. So that's what she did. And what was empowering is that, like, he didn't come in, like Clarence didn't come in and save her. Like she did this for one. This is 1992. And like you said, she did it by just sheer fucking will. And it was brutal to see her going through. I'm sure like that probably wasn't, well, maybe it was Gandolfini, famous cokehead, just like Tom Sizemore, just like Chris Penn. I think the only person who probably wasn't doing coke at the time was Dennis Hopper, because he was sober. But everybody else, including Gary Oldman, famous cokeheads in this movie. And that probably was pretty tough scene to do. But it was fucking, it made the movie. It absolutely made it, it's like, it's not like the cheesy shit we get today,
Yeah, this kind of feels like how something like that would actually play out in the real world. Not just like her kicking the shit out of him because she's got like some crappy kung fu moves or something, like actually having to use some resourcefulness and take advantage of his overconfidence. And that's how it's done. So, yeah.
And the scene it started out so well because she was so cool at the beginning. Like, she saw him there. She didn't go, oh, she's like, hey. So you knew you were in for something interesting at that point.
Yeah. And the fact that he decks her one, clearly got no, compunctions about hitting a woman. He just absolutely lays her out. And, that straight away clues you into what kind of guy he is.
Yep. So. And it was done in a way to where it didn't glorify it at all. Like it was brutal to watch. So it wasn't a glorification of violence. And this is where movies can help. This is where movies, that's what they do. That's why we don't want to not show things. You want to be free to create whatever the hell you want. But if you show how ugly something is, so if I was, squirming a little, just, oh God, like for fucking, cause like for one, like hitting a woman, like period, is not anything I could do. And no matter what, and like doing it like and getting off on it and then watching her bleed and stuff like that, it was just fucking brutal. That's why it had such a satisfying end to something that was very hard, and it showed the ugliness of that type of violence. Again, not, you could say it glorifies other stuff in this film, and I wouldn't care, but it definitely didn't glorify this scene, and that's why it was good.
No. Well, again, it's a scene you would never get in a film nowadays because she would just fight him like a man and beat him like a man. And she would never take that kind of damage, and she wouldn't look helpless or frightened or anything. And so you would never really get invested in it. It would just be got to tick the box, have your girl power scene so that she can kick his ass and then move on to the next bit. And that would be all it would. All it would be. It would just be a superficial scene that would mean nothing. But this becomes so much more, impactful. Ever Open Eye says Basil Exposition would have loved Loki. Fuck yeah. There's a lot of exposition in that show. Will Gentry says fucking amazing film. It was probably my favorite film for about 5 years. Gary, I'm doing great, feeling good, back at the gym now, and do a fantastic local recovery group 2 or 3 times a week.
Awesome.
Nice.
Fucking love that story. That's my favorite story of the day. Hit that hard. It's good for recovery. Like fucking go twice a day. I did that for a long time. I went in the morning and then at night. If I felt like I was getting a little restless or something, boom, gym, fucking evil music, go work out, takes the edge off.
Absolutely. The God of Gravy says, good tiny drinker, starting to gradually get into whiskey, starting on the easy stuff as you suggested to others. Ever tried Shackleton or Robert Graham's Caribbean? Both excellent to my noob tongue. I've tried Shackleton. I'm not familiar with the other one, but yeah, Shackleton was fine for me. Pretty easy to drink, so yeah, nice one. Hollow Man Jin Boo says, endgame change. Iron Man prepares to snap. He gets knocked out from behind. Cap is standing over him and says, sorry, Tony, this one is my job. Takes off his gauntlet and performs the snap. Sorry, were you going to say something there?
Oh, I said I would have liked that more.
Yep. It seems like a Cap thing to do. I don't think he would be able to do it, but it would be the sort of thing he would do rather than just going back in time and just taking a lifetime for himself. Never mind.
That's something we could talk about someday as Endgame. We could break just everything. Like it's all emotion. It's pure emotion. And
it's emotion and convenience as far as that plot goes. Convenience really has to hold that plot together because there's some shaky stuff there. The God of Gravy says, also, hi, Gary.
Hello.
There we go. Stewie gave me £20, so thank you. So did Sakura Haruno and Stewie, so thanks to all of you. Super Daddy 69 says, greetings from Denmark. Greetings from Scotland, my friend. Thank you.
Greetings from Escondido.
Hey. Fight the Club says, hail Drinker and Gary. Greetings on behalf of the Critical Drinker Drunk Posting Facebook group. I'm catching up, so I'll be a bit behind, but can't wait. Is there a fucking Facebook group for me?
I think so. Oh, you didn't know? Hang on. Let's double. I could have sworn I saw.
I go on Facebook like once every couple of years, so I don't know.
I got a Facebook group too. I don't and a Discord. I don't know what the hell's going on there. But let's say the Critical Drinker. What's the group called?
What did he say? Critical Drinker Drunk Posting Facebook group.
Well, fucking Facebook sucks for searching. So like, there it is. Yeah, Critical Drinker Drunk Posting. It's got 2,600 members.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'll need to take a look. God knows what goes on in there.
That's so cool.
I hope it's depraved. Right, what's the next one? Alex A gave me $5 Canadian, so thank you. Doug Keller says, the two of you should cover Top Gun in a live stream. I'd happily talk about Top Gun. I like that movie.
Hell yeah.
It's a proper 80s over-the-top macho cheese with a bit of like homoeroticism thrown in there. So it's a very confusing movie.
Yeah, and it was filmed all around here, like where I am. So,
oh, really?
Oceanside, where the scenes where that was where what's her name's house was on the beach, and then Miramar Air Base is where they filmed all the Top Gun scenes, which is just
nice.
20 minutes south of me.
Yeah, it's another movie where it was always filmed at sunset. You know, everything's just bright orange at all times. It looks amazing.
Tony Scott.
Yep. King Crow says, Drinker, watch a show called Resident Alien with the great Alan Tudyk. It may give you some hope for entertainment and a positive review. Okay. William Peterson says, Drinker, have you seen I Saw the Devil? Thrilling, surprisingly emotional, and for wanton goddamn brutality makes anything look like an episode of Friends. Ask Dankula, he's talked about it. P.S. Use this £50 only on Brie Larson memorabilia. Thank you very much for the donation, man. I haven't seen I Saw the Devil, unfortunately. But if Dank recommends it, then that's good enough for me. I need to get a Brie Larson doll then. What can I get for £50 that's Brie Larson related?
Brie demoted in her own movie.
Yeah.
Not about it at all. But it's going to be more woke. It'll actually be more. I don't know if that's proper English. It'll be woker or more woke than her movie was, although it technically wasn't woke. It was filled with intersectional feminism. But I just use woke because it's easier to say.
It's close enough, really, isn't it? Same thing. They will not have learned their lesson from the first movie. I think they'll actually double down just to piss people off more. Yeah. It's great. I can't wait to watch it. Karen Nielsen says, Drinker, if your life was a movie, who would play Tatiana? Tessa Thompson may look the part, but can she play the part? Cheers from Copenhagen. Tatiana. Who indeed could play her? She's more of an idea than a true person, you know. I'm gonna bring in Brie Larson for the role. I would cast her in everything. Why not? Saint says, Saint says, I feel like I should clarify. My mother was tricked into watching this film using the title. However, she enjoyed it immensely. Yeah, it's not your typical romance movie, but it's really good. Nick B says, he must have thought it was Super Chat Day. It ain't Super Chat Day, is it? Max Bowie says, your views on Gene Hackman. I think he's the best actor America has ever produced. Versatile, powerful, and subtle. Many actors cite him as an influence. Also, regarding Hackman, we'd love to hear your thoughts on Crimson Tide, Enemy of the State, and Prime Cut, a gem from 1972 with Hackman and Lee Marvin. I love Gene Hackman. I did a review on Bat 21, which is one of my favorite movies of his. Crimson Tide, another fantastic film, brilliantly balanced, and watching him play off Denzel Washington is fantastic. So, yeah, he's a great actor.
Yeah, he is.
Patricia Molina gave me a $20 super sticker, so thanks very much for that. Manta says, don't give me the finger, I'll have you killed. What an epic movie. Cheers, boys. Nice. Sam Avery gave me a $5 super chat. Big Daddy MRI gave me $100. Damn, man. Howdy Drinker and Gary from Texas. Love this movie also. Can't make that these days. Here's a few dollars for some good alcohol. Thank you, man. Gary, hope to see you sometime in Texas. Maybe a barbecue or a cup of coffee. Can't go to Vegas. Hate to miss that. Cheers. Please do this again.
Oh, we'll do it again. We'll do it. We'll do it every year. I think that's probably what we'll do.
Yeah.
Make it a once a year thing.
Nice one. But yeah,
we'll do this again for sure. Maybe we'll talk about Top Gun. That would be cool.
But yeah, thanks for that donation, man. I appreciate that. Eric Sternberg says, keep those drinks and conversations flowing, boys. I'll do my best. Claudio Rogojan says, Tom Sizemore arrested people for drugs. How ironic. Same thing happened in Point Break.
Yeah.
Stick to what you know, Tom.
Stick to what you know. Exactly. Oh, poor Tom Sizemore. You know, I thought, his career died. Just died. So I don't, he never got invited back to do Quentin Tarantino. Has he? I wonder if he got invited back even in the Quentin Tarantino film.
I've never seen him in anything else. Honestly, I think the last thing I saw him in was like Pearl Harbor, and that was like
Yeah.
2001, 2002. I've never seen anything in since then. Someone help him. Tom's got to eat.
Yeah, boy's got to eat. He's like yeah. Oh, he's in like a bunch of.
Has he gone down the Bruce Willis road of producing like 10 movies a year?
Yeah, I've never heard of any of this stuff. But he was in Barbie Rehab.
Okay.
Alien Conquest. I'm trying to think. Clean, and it's spelled CL, like it's an acronym. Clean. Apocalypse of Ice, The Runners. Yeah, he hasn't been in. Oh, it's just a bunch of straight to video, Blu-ray. Do they even make that straight to streaming?
Yeah, what, a Netflix original, something like that?
Yeah. I haven't heard of a single thing. Atomica. It's a long list of nothing. Good. That's good.
Oh, Tom. Sorry, man. Chuck Norris Gun Club says, Critical Drinker, please review Club Extinction from 1990. I've never seen that. Ken Crow says, did you notice in Fast and Furious 9, the agent Brian broke the nose of twice? His nose is still disfigured in this one from being broken twice. I loved F9. What the fuck? I don't remember that from this. Yeah, I know they're mad for their continuity between movies somehow. I don't know why. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they included something like that. The Outcast Creative says, Drinker, do Chuck Norris Invasion USA. Guilty pleasure with the ultimate B-movie bad guy, Richard Lynch. Look him up, you'll recognize him. I think I do recognize the name, actually. Richard Lynch. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Oh, Christ. Plays a lot of disfigured characters for some reason. Yeah, I see him.
Yeah, I remember. Okay. What the hell? Oh my God, look at him now. Kind of looks like a old
He
lady.
looks like he's melted.
Yeah. But he's been in Star Trek. I thought this guy was like British for sure. But he was in The Sword and the Sorcerer, Invasion USA, The 7-Up, Scarecrow, Little Nikita, Bad Dreams, God Told Me to, Halloween. He used to be like a TV actor. He was like always on fucking TV. What fucking? He used to be in a. Oh, he died.
He died. Damn, he died.
He died a long time ago. Yeah, he was in a fucking TV series though. Oh well.
Hold on, let's see if I can put a picture of him up so people can actually see him. What will it be? No video file.
Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
Streets of San Francisco, Vegas, Buck Rogers, Charlie's Angels. Yeah, that guy was on TV like all through when I was growing up. So every one of these shows I watched. Streets of San Francisco, Battlestar Galactica, Vegas, Buck Rogers, Charlie's Angels, Starsky Hutch, Galactica 1980, Alcatraz, The Whole Shocking Story, The Phoenix, Blue Thunder. That was the TV series Blue Thunder, not the movie, which is great. I was thinking of that yesterday. 2 giant helicopters flew over my house that looked like they could blow up my entire neighborhood. And out the front, there's a base, a huge Marine base north of me. But yeah, they're flying over like every night, and it like makes the ground shake.
Nice. That's
what
you want.
Like, that's sound of freedom, son. That's what I said.
Yeah, just like screaming USA.
Yeah.
Claudio Rogajan says Quentin Tarantino sold the script before he even made Reservoir Dogs and was going to use the $50,000 to fund it, but then he met Lawrence Bender. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, how this was the minimum he could sell it for. So yeah, 50 grand is still okay, but yeah, when you're Quentin Tarantino, I think you could do better. Jay Fraser 360 says 1/4 Black Garrett for Dread. Happy Hour. Yeah, I'd happily talk about that movie. I'm sure I did a Drinker Recommends on it.
Yeah, you did. Like, dude, no, that is one of the greatest comic book films ever made.
Yeah, they really nailed Dread. Like Carl Urban, man, why couldn't they make another one?
What, Kill Bill Volume 3? Didn't she kill Bill? And then the Kill Bill 2?
She killed him. Yeah, she gave him the 5-point palm exploding heart technique.
Yeah. And then
Killed the shit out of him.
Then the actor actually died from autoerotic asphyxiation. So
he strangled himself to death while wanking. I mean, to be honest, like, go doing what you love. Like,
Oh, and
man checked out on his own terms.
The Django and Zorro is going to be a comic. Character/comic. Okay. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it just did. So, yeah. So, Kill Bill Volume 3 announced. That can't be real.
No, that's got to be bullshit.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, shit. Oh, okay, so it's just an idea that he's floating around. He's not actually saying he's going to do it.
Gotcha. I was looking at IMDb, so IMDb's full of shit. Yeah, so Reservoir Dogs, True Romance, Pulp Fiction, Natural Born Killers, Four Rooms, Leonard Cohen, Dance Me to the End of the Love short, From Dusk Till Dawn, Curdled, Jackie Brown, Reservoir Wolves short, Kill Bill 1 and 2. He wrote a couple of CSIs. Yeah, he did.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Reservoir Dogs video game, Grindhouse, Death Proof, Inglourious Bastards, Kill Bill, Django, Hateful Eight.
Django, yeah.
Yeah. I was just looking to see like what he had actually done, if there was any shorts or anything before Reservoir Dogs. He did a couple like Lovebirds in Bondage and My Best Friend's Birthday. I don't even know what the hell that is.
Yeah, everyone's got to start somewhere, I suppose.
Yep.
What's the next one? Big Daddy MRI says, no, that's not what he said. You need some mods. Ask Gary if you can borrow some. They're good to have on live streams. Yeah, I think I've been watching chat. Like, it seems to have been all right so far. I've not spotted anything like way out of line or anything. But yeah, you should probably get a mod or two because they are good to have. You're right. RRTNZ says, I thought Zimmer's main theme plays whenever one character is expressing love for another, even if they don't say I love you. In my opinion, that's part of the film's heart and charm. Great stream, lads. Thank you. And yeah, that stream lets you know something intimate and emotional is happening.
Also, know if you play that song on a Caribbean beach, it fucking works. If
yeah.
Headphones on, or you're playing it and you're sitting there and the water's like pure turquoise. And it's like, I mean, I know not everybody go. I've been on 2 honeymoons because I've been married twice, and both times I went to the Caribbean. So yeah, or you go to Hawaii, you get the same thing. It's perfect. Yep.
Claudio Rogajan says, surprised Johnny Depp didn't go down young from drugs. Also, the guy playing the bodyguard is a great comedic actor, hilarious in American Pie 3. Yeah, I don't really remember him from that, but yeah, Johnny Depp, how he's made it this far, I don't know, because he's done all the drugs and all the booze, as far as I know.
Yeah, he's just got the constitution for it. He also, after River Phoenix died, he went to France. He took off to France for a good long time for a lot of reasons. Yep.
Stybek B says, why you make me do this? Why are you still not watching Invincible? Think, drinker, think. Watch the Walking Dead creators spin on superheroes. It's definitely on my list. I will watch it. I just haven't got around to it yet. Manta says, I need an ambulance. I'll call you a hearse. This one's for Cody. Blam! Nice. Also from Claudio Rogajan, Val Kilmer is so great, I feel terrible about what happened to him. Thankfully, he's alive, and I hope his voice goes back to normal someday. Great actor. Yeah, I think they had to do a tracheotomy on him.
Yeah.
He had throat cancer. So I don't even know if he can talk now. But yeah, real shame. Good actor back in his day. I think he suffered a little bit from ego back in the 90s, but it happens to a lot of them.
A little too eccentric and and didn't take care of himself.
Yeah. Rob H says, haven't seen this movie yet. I'll get to it eventually. In the meantime, here's some pocket change for the next round. Cheers. Thanks, man. Ryan DeLucci. Actually, after hearing you both talk about this movie, I stand corrected from my previous super chat. Sounds like I need to check this movie out. Man, so many people have never seen it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of why we do this then, right?
Yeah, although we have just sat and spoiled the whole thing, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's hard when we're talking about older movies. You got to take the time and context, but I think this one holds up. That thing looks really super dated, except for maybe a cell phone, and the Uzis, which
the Uzis,
awesome.
Yeah.
But I think it's you could just look at it as a period piece, and it has one of the best casts like ever in a film.
Yep. John Ogletree says, I was watching Lethal Weapon 3 the other night, and all I could think of was how amazing the action and stunts were compared to the action from Black Widow. Yeah, because it was actually real. You know, and I guess that's the difference. Not real, but it was real in the sense that they did, stuntmen and actual like practical effects instead of just CGI and everything. So, yeah, that's the difference. I know which one I'd rather watch.
Well, for one, like the Marvel not even knowing their own damn movies. I should have brought this up in my review. Like Black Widow is a street level villain that you do not have a giant set piece of a giant space fucking cloud city falling down. No, her final battle needs to be running through the streets of fucking Venice or something, going after her kill.
She was never the kind of character that you could have fighting cosmic threats like Thanos. She always felt totally out of place in scenes like that. And so it's, I was excited to have her do her own movie where it's like, great, she'll be in her element. She'll be doing the spying stuff. She'll be doing some espionage, double crosses, all that stuff. And yeah, it just never really happened. And I love that bit in your review when you show Taskmaster removing his helmet and you get like that guy going, oh no, no, no.
Everybody saw it. It was terrible. I was laughing. Me and my kid were both laughing in the theater, especially when they did the profile and you can see it's a dude's body and they freaking CG'd her head and it was just lazy, right? It was lazy. And what you said, what they never did with Black Widow is we should have never known who till her fucking movie. We should have never known whose side she was on. We should have always had that in the back of our head that this woman can betray us at any moment because that's what she was. She was supposed to be duplicitous as a character. And I was always waiting for her to betray Tony Stark and it never happened. But because she did so much in the comic book, she'd flip on people all the time. But then you'd find out she was flipping for another reason. And you got to really buy into it. And I thought ScarJo could play that part of Black Widow very well. You never know what side I'm on or where I'm coming from.
Oh, yeah. Like her ability to kind of flirt subtly with every male character that's around her and make you think that she's attracted to them, but she really isn't. Like that's the sign of a good actress right there. She did it really well. But that's what you don't get in this movie because it's not about her like using her sexuality or attractiveness to win people over or get information out of them. It's just about her beating the shit out of people twice her size.
Yep. So the feminist empowerment movie about Black Widow is the very exact reason why they would not be good Black Widows. Florence Pugh is going to be a terrible Black Widow. I don't like the pose and the sexy, well then I'm sorry, honey, we don't need you.
Yeah. Riff Magos says, Hail Drinker and Gary, we've reached a point where Drinker's reviews are infinitely more entertaining than the MCU. You're a fucking legend. Thank you. Wormy Spoon says, Drinker, do you think you could get Scott Adkins to do doing one of his movies? Avengement, maybe. He has a YouTube channel, great stream. Yeah, Scott Adkins is awesome, man. He's like one of the proper like action movie stars of our age. It's just he gets no fucking attention. James Fowler says, love you guys. Hollywood's brainwashing propaganda. I'm absolutely sick of it. Thank you for the great entertainment. Cheers, guys. PS review legend. I would do that for sure. Yum Yum Meet 'em Up says, it took me 10 years to get the MCU to where it was before they started crapping on it. Wouldn't be surprised if it took another 10 to undo the wokeness. I don't know if you ever can. I don't know if you can ever get it back to where it was, because that run that they had, the first couple of phases, was just unstoppable. And I think if you try to build it back up again, the fatigue sets in eventually, and you don't quite have that freshness to it anymore. And I don't think they'll be able to do something like the Infinity Saga again.
LA starting Saturday night at midnight. If you are a resident of Los Angeles County, you are now required, whether you're vaccinated or not, to wear a mask. Mandates back.
So we still have that here, I think. On any public transport, you've got to wear it. But I think they're doing away with everything else from like Monday or something. So for you guys, is it like every public place, or is it just?
Yeah, I'm sure my county will follow suit soon. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's every public place, and there people are just going to go, it's just your mask. It's like that's they're we're talking about a movie. I'm pissed. We're gonna get locked down again in a couple months. Enjoy your freedom. I'm getting the hell out of here. Oh, yo, dude. I'm just picking up the speed.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Apocalypse Dan says, Drinker, you're a true legend. Gary, thank you for recommending the Orville. I had completely forgotten the love I had for Star Trek, the original series, and early TNG. I think you get that from the Orville.
You do. Orville's a fantastic show, and we'll get a season 3. It's like they've been filming it for 2 years, so I'm sure it'll be out soon. I was fortunate enough to go on the set for early on when they started shooting, and saw some really cool stuff. And it's all like, and it felt like a TNG set. They have I don't know. Yeah, they have the interior of the ship. They built all that whole set out like it's all real, and it's fucking cool. It is cool.
Nice. Paul Colton says, in the Tarantino script or director's cut, Clarence dies in the shootout. Also, Alabama kills a cop in the shootout, so her body count is as high as his.
Yep.
Didn't know that. Yeah. King Crow says, I want to see the Shang-Chi because I'm a big fan of Tony Leung, and they're doing the Mandarin right after Iron Man 3 fucked it up. So it would be nice to see a proper Mandarin, if nothing else. Jason Clifford gave me $5. Thank you. King Crow says, do y'all watch pitch meetings? Is that the channel?
You mean like
I assume
Collider's pitch? Yeah, those are funny.
Some of them are pretty good. I've not seen the one for Black Widow yet, actually, so I need to give that a watch.
Oh, yeah.
Aiken says, hi, Gary and Drinker. This is the lady I see as Anya from your novels, Mariam D'Abo. She's in James Bond's Living Daylights, but if she was a little older. Hold on. I have to look her up. Mariam D'Abo. I have not heard of her.
I haven't either.
Right, yeah. I see where you're going with this. What the fuck was she in? Was she in Conan the Destroyer? I feel like she was. She was like the sort of little like teenage girl that they had to use like to sacrifice or something like that. Yeah. She was pretty hot. She's looking a bit rough nowadays though. I think she's about 60 years old. But yeah, I see where you're going with that. Randomity says, Drinker, you raconteur of raucous reviews. Here's my $5. Watch Ridley Scott's The Duelist for the toxic masculinity. Honor. Chicks get it. Sorry, chicks don't get it. I've not seen The Duelist, actually, so I will give that a watch. Jason Clifford says, cheers, guys. Great work. Have either of you seen Diggstown? Definitely worth a watch if you've never seen it. I've not seen it. Have you? Diggstown.
No, I have not.
Scott Christie Jones says, you were cloned and it went wrong. Give us Dankula. Or gave us Dankula, sorry. Wormy Spoon says, Gary, speaking of manga adaptations, have you seen, and I'm going to butcher this name, Rorundi Kenshin. I think they are very cool adaptations. Drinker, I hit you on the email.
No, I have not seen. No, I am not aware.
It may be that I've just said the name wrong, but Rurouni Kenshin.
If it's manga, I am there. I only know like the really basic bitch stuff. Yeah.
The Hot Thought says, "Avenge hers to her turn." Indeed. Marksman of 117B. Have you seen Beasts of No Nation? Great movie. Beasts of No Nation. No, I haven't. Stephen Otten. Hi, old drinker and Nerdrotic. Since TR has two endings, which do you prefer, or does it matter? I prefer the happy ending, personally.
I don't know if I don't recall both endings being the same. The one I saw in the theater and this one, unless they took. Is there another cut out there where they took it out?
I could not say.
Yeah. I prefer the happy. Yep.
Yeah, totally. I would rather the happy ending in this case. I think it's earned. Doug Keller says, "Drinker, have you seen Year of the Dragon with Mickey Rourke?" I don't think I've seen that one. I'll be honest. No, I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh, was that?
Year of the Dragon with Mickey Rourke.
Year of the Dragon. Hang on. Did I see that movie? I think I did. I don't remember it. It was a long time ago. I saw this movie. I did see this. I saw this movie. Oh my God. And I saw it in the theaters. I must have been loaded. I was young. I mean, but it's been like 3 decades, but I definitely saw it.
Douglas Burton says, "Hail Drinker, hail Gary. Do you know that the Black Widow script never even names Taskmaster? They just forgot or chopped it in an edit, lol." I thought they did. I'm pretty sure they specifically say Taskmaster's name. I think it's Yelena that says it, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
I can't remember.
I'm sure because I know fuck all about the comics, so I wouldn't have got Taskmaster without it being mentioned in the movie.
Well, she is called Taskmaster in the credits. So it's Taskmaster.
Okay. John Papa Sergio says, "Would love to see you guys discuss The Professional, classic movie." James Mason says, "Hey Drinker, just watched Loki and then cancelled Disney Plus."
I would. I feel so insulted after that. I would just feel like, I don't know if anybody ever watched True Blood, right? So I watched True Blood all the way through. I was a big fan of True Blood, but season 6, the end was an insult to all the fans. And I was like so fucking mad. And all the fans were. I mean, everybody who sat through that, like the way they did us, it was a middle finger. That was a middle finger. That was like Disney just going, you guys are bitches. You are our bitch. We'll bend you over whenever we want, and you'll just take it. That was like worthless, absolutely worthless. And back to Mickey, what made me think of that Mickey Rourke movie? I was thinking Angel Heart. I was trying to think of the name of the other movie I like a lot with Louis Cypher. I haven't watched that in a million years either. Back when Mickey Rourke was young and pretty, before he started boxing and
that all ended after he came back to boxing, didn't it?
Yep.
Fucking hell.
Very good at it.
Yeah, it's like, funnily enough, a 40-year-old man who hasn't boxed in like 20 years getting back into the sport. Yeah, you can't really block punches with your head for too long before you start to fuck yourself up.
Yep.
Young Thinker 1 says, "Best movies, Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness, The Frighteners, Frailty. I love the campy, fun-loving movies." Yeah, Army of Darkness is great fun. Love that.
Yep, and I love The Frighteners. That one's good. Or Peter Jackson.
Yes, yeah, that was back in his like grindhouse sort of days. Night King 1 says, "I don't think the failure of Dark Fate and Birds of Prey being because of woke garbage, specifically for those films. I think it's because no one cares about those licenses anymore, and no one knew about Birds of Prey." I think with Terminator, like there was always going to be there was always going to be an audience for it. I just think it needs to be something pretty special to like really win those people back. And clearly, Dark Fate wasn't that.
Sorry, I disagree with that super chat. Like fundamentally, I think people are tired of not Birds of Prey. Okay, I can listen to an argument of being tired of the Terminator franchise, but the reason people didn't go was because it was woke. You had Justin Bieber on the poster, and they made it very clear like what it was like. And then when people started seeing the movie and saw that everything was done again, like they killed John Connor in the first 2 minutes. The reason they did that was to replace him with a female. It was done for agenda. The reason they had an androgynous woman playing the Terminator was for agenda. They had Sarah Connor being anti-natalist in the effing movie. A freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger was a draper. He was a drape apologist. And they told you this, like, this is what the movie was for. They came out and said, yes, this is supposed to be about a drape apologist. This is so, and that's exactly why it failed. So their decision-making to make it intersectional feminism and put it in the marketing is why it failed. Yes, the entire franchise too.
Isn't it interesting though? Like T2 did the whole feminism thing far better and made it in a way that like people actually loved it.
Yep.
And it did it 30 years ago. Wow. Okay. You know, we can't equal that today.
And that's why buying this crap is like, they're sure life isn't fair and we're not perfection yet. We're not at utopia, but things are they were much better than they were even 20 years ago. The problem is like half of our population now, or most of our population now, a lot of them, not everybody. You guys are great in the chat, by the way. Everybody watching is great. Has the, the attention span of your average gnat. It's just, we're not remembering things from a couple of years ago. We're not even in Black Widow, like they're bringing up the fallopian tubes and stuff like that. Joss Whedon got like freaking brutally criticized for making Black Widow sterile, and nobody remembers this. And then they flipped the script on it 2 3 4 years later, 5 years later, whatever it is. There's no memory out there, and which makes it very easy to lie to people.
I think as well, like Whedon got so much criticism because he had that line of dialogue from Black Widow where it's like, "Oh, you're not the only monster," implying that like a woman who can't have children is some kind of monster just because of that. And it's like that's not what she was trying to say in that scene. Nope. She was trying to say like I was a weapon designed only to kill and complete the mission, and to the point where I can't even have children or have any attachments to people. That's how much I've been committed to this thing, whether I wanted it or not. But like people don't even see that. They don't get the point of it.
Or they don't want to.
Exactly, yeah. It's like just something to get mad about, I guess. King Crow says, Walken still acts in smaller films, which he prefers. Watch Percy versus Goliath. Yeah, I mean, I think Walken's at that point in his career when he can just do whatever he wants.
Yep.
He's probably going to be acting until the day he dies. But yeah, he kind of takes the piss out of himself quite a lot these days, and it's a shame because he was a good character actor back in the day. Stephen Otten says, when you realize that there's 30 minutes of Pulp Fiction that's basically you put what, where? Yeah, there is a bit of that. John Papa Sergio says, any of you seen Gunpowder Milkshake? I saw it last night. Not great, but it's a fun shoot 'em up. I haven't seen that. Don't know about it. Big Al says, evening chaps, say my name and make me famous. Okay, Big Al. Drinker, what's in the glowing cabinet of mystery behind you? Also, have you heard about the new Battlestar Galactica continuation series Peacock are doing? Yay or nay? I haven't seen that, no. In terms of the cabinet behind me, I have got, when I'm not pulling out my fucking earbuds so I can hear things, the top shelf is Resident Evil stuff. So I've got like a case of virus samples and Raccoon City signs. The middle shelf, which I'm still working on, is Fallout things. So I've got like a portable nuke there and a few other things that are on order. And then the bottom stuff is Iron Man. And you can see the giant Iron Man over in the corner there that Az gave to me as a late birthday present. That thing's fucking awesome, man. So cool.
Az is a guy.
Yeah, oh man, just gave me that just off the, off his own back. So yeah, it's getting there. It needs a bit more work, but filling up a display case is a big job. And I'm saying this to Gary, who's got literally an entire room of collectibles behind him.
Much. It stands out way more that you have like this one thing that stands out way more than the hodgepodge that's behind me. But you know.
I'm going for the minimalist look, right? It's like sensory deprivation because for so long I just had a blank wall behind me, and it's like, ooh, I put something in it that's moderately interesting.
I love how people notice and they run with it. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. Oh, go on. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I did like a little video on Twitter the other day when I was reviewing Loki, and like I just forgot to close my door, and people were like, "Oh, you left the door open. What's the meaning behind this?"
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And let them think that going. You'll never know.
Yeah. There's deep meanings behind all the stuff around me.
Yeah. Now I was just looking at that Dennis Hopper, Christopher Walken scene is 10 minutes in the middle of the movie with two characters you don't ever see again.
Yep.
That's fucking awesome.
They threw it in there because they could. I just noticed as well, MauLer's in the chat, so hey man.
Hey.
How's it going?
What's up, long man?
Yeah. If you want to jump in at any point, just let me know. What's the next one here? King Crow says Stallone passed on Romancing the Stone. Love it. I didn't know that. But damn, that would have been a very different film if he'd been in it.
Yeah.
Claudio Rogajan says best description of Black Widow. It felt like it was the pilot for a TV show stretched out to 2 hours. Do you guys agree with me? I don't know, man. It just felt like a really crappy movie for me.
It felt like a Disney Plus series. It was right in line with Loki and Falcon and Winter Soldier. It was unnecessary horning in of a story that didn't really change anything ultimately when it was done. What did it change in the Marvel universe? We have a Russian family we might not ever see again. What impact did it have? It showed us why ScarJo dyed her hair blonde for Infinity War and where her vest came from.
Yeah.
It set nothing up for the future at all. I thought it would. Oh, wait, no, there was the stinger scene where we saw Julia Louis-Dreyfus. That was fucking terrible.
Yeah, like I see her, right, and she's dressed exactly like Selena Meyer from Veep, and so I can never get past that whenever I see her, and that's just the thing that like pisses me off. And like they give her like the weirdest, most awkward dialogue whenever she's actually in the show. Like when she was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it was just like really labored and awkward. And fuck, man, I don't know what they're going for with that character.
It's got CW writing now.
That's kind of what it feels like. Yeah, it really does. What was the next one here? Yeah, John Papa Sergio says, speaking of Roger Rabbit, are you guys aware of the differences from the movie and the book? The book was way dark.
Way darker.
I know nothing about it. Literally nothing, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, like there's death in the books. So, and that movie is genius, by the way. I freaking love that movie so much.
Nice. Unhinged Entertainment says Western comics are still alive in the indie scene. Check out Absolute Book 2 currently on Indiegogo. I'll take your word for that. Adam McKeith says, Drinker, love your shit. I wrote a movie script in one night and it's a masterpiece. Would you like to review it? If you get it made into a movie, I will review it for you. How does that sound? Heartbreak Ridge says, the Stuck in the Middle with You song and scene from Reservoir Dogs is our song for my wife and I. She's a keeper. Cheers, gents. Well, that's got some interesting associations. Like, Doug Keller says, Drinker, if you do a live stream on Kelly's Heroes, then you have to do a review on The Dirty Dozen. Well, naturally, they go hand in hand, don't they?
Yeah.
Great movies, both of them. The God of Gravy says, quick suggestion for future reviews before I hit the hay. Heartbreak Ridge, The First Great Train Robbery, and Trance. Yeah, Heartbreak Ridge, fantastic movie. I don't know about Trance, I haven't seen that, but yeah. Badly Drew gave me £2. Thank you. RRTNZ says, Great Stream Boils. Gary, I unsuccessfully tried to get my wife to walk down the aisle to Zimmer's True Romance theme.
Oh,
There you
go. I hope it wasn't something like Arms Wide Open or something that you decided on, some Creed song. That'd be bad.
Yeah.
It was on our wedding mix. It was definitely on our wedding mix. What we played for the reception.
Good choice. Drinker, wasn't City you in the Will Jordan tries versus Tonga YouTube clip? Apparently, no, I don't think so. I'm not a rugby player, so that probably wasn't me. Past the Whiskey says, hello lads, happy hours on Boogie Nights and There Will Be Blood when? There Will Be Blood is one of my favorites, but both are great films. Yeah, seen both of them, enjoyed both of them.
Yep.
And I believe we've got a long man who's here. Let me just bring him in.
Long man.
Hello, MauLer.
Hello there.
Hello there. How goes it this evening?
Oh, great. Not boiling to death. I'm very bad with heat. So I'm like, I'll go to sleep until it's colder again so I can work, and I wake up and it's hotter, and I'm like, plan isn't working.
Yeah, Gary, the UK is going through a bit of a heat wave, or whatever passes for a heat wave for us right now.
Yeah.
Is that like 14 Celsius or so? I don't know. It's in Celsius. So,
according to my car, we were up to like 25 today, so it was pretty fucking hot here.
You guys know I'm friends with like Fringy. Every time I tell him it's hot, he's like, "Oh yeah, is it really hot over there, huh?"
like 77 degrees. It's almost 80.
Well, Australia, like their floor catches on fire, so
and giant spiders come out and drag them to the to be eaten by the great white sharks that are outside of their country. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, you remember the ice spiders in good old Game of Thrones? They have fire spiders. They're a little bit more intense, I guess.
I mean, basically everything's out to kill you there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whether it's the wildlife or the people, there's always something, or the weather.
I was on your wonderful island last time. I think it was 2004 during the big European heat wave when like people died. It was like 90 in London. And man, can that city smell bad when it's hot?
Yeah,
smelled bad.
London's brutal, and I don't know if this is like you get the same in New York, but like even at night, it never gets cool in the summertime. Like it's still boiling hot all night long, and you can't sleep in it.
It's because of all the pavement. Yeah, it's. I forgot. There's a name for it. There's a name for the heat that gets attracted to a city. But yeah, it was hot. I wore shorts. I didn't expect to wear shorts walking around London.
Shit, man, I wear shorts in December here.
Good.
Yeah, like we should ask you more. Actually, have you done a bit of True Romance? Have you watched any of this movie before?
Funny enough, I've got an audio commentary like for the entire film with a friend of mine. Around, I think we did it in 2018 or something. But yeah, True Romance is it's a movie that loads of people don't even know exists, and they have no idea what goes on in it. But it's like star-studded and Quentin Tarantino's writing, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
Really awesome film. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. See, there you go. It's in my top 5. I watch it. It's been a couple of years, but I usually watch it like every year. And yeah, it's just and it was perfect to watch after this weekend of just Marvel garbage. And just be reminded what simple, good writing and stuff that's based on characterization and just dialogue, and you don't have to explain everything. There's like Drinker and I were just talking. There's some huge questions that aren't answered in this film yet. I am completely satisfied by the end.
Wait, you're saying you didn't want a huge franchise that started with this film?
No, I don't. I don't ever want to know what happens again. I don't want to know if Blue Lou or with the fucking kid comes and hunts him down in Cancun, it's so perfect how it ends, and a good happy ending that we usually don't get from a Quentin Tarantino film.
What I really wanted was someone to sit Clarence down at a table and interview him for 5 hours and get him to talk about his feelings until he eventually admitted that he was a narcissistic, attention-seeking asshole, and then break down and cry a little bit. I think that would have really taken the movie to the next level.
I just wanted the scene after the credits where John Travolta walks in. He says, "You're a part of a bigger universe," and like, oh,
what's going on around here? Yes. It was just we are so far away from anything this good. I mean, I did see Nobody was good. There's a couple things here and there that are still good. I'm sure there's some indie films that I've completely missed that are still good, but as far as like the machine of Hollywood, it crapped out something fun pretty regularly a few times a year, right? Like, and it can't even do that now. Like nothing, not a TV show, not a movie, nothing.
I think when your biggest worry was like, how high is the producer and the director and the writer of this movie going to be? Like, how much cocaine did they do? You're in a good situation. You end up with movies like this, and they're fun and enjoyable, and they have bursts of real creativity and awesomeness. You don't get that now. It's a different paradigm.
There's people who are like, "Oh, we'll stop consuming all the mainstream stuff." Then it's like, wait, why is it bad that we want good mainstream stuff? It's like they get all the budgets. It's the last chances for sci-fi to be represented without us seeing like clunky stuff. Which I mean, I'll accept if it means we get good writing. All three of us watch our respective shows that have like notoriously bad CGI or production values, which doesn't matter if it's well supported. But we'd like to see a huge budgeted, really well written sci-fi or fantasy. It's like Lord of the Rings. If you stripped it down to a really, really low budget, it's not that it would be terrible, but man, you'd be missing out. Like that Balrog, it's phenomenal.
Oh.
You want to see that stuff represented properly with incredible technology, and it's just like, yeah, you don't get to even get close these days because the writing is so bad. We'll never get there.
No, I was, back when I was a kid, I thought the best we were going to get was this. I just got this soundtrack that for fantasy. Like I never thought I would see proper sword and sorcerer fantasy ever in my life. Because it was so expensive and sci-fi. And now, independent sci-fi is good, but it's always, post-apocalyptic or they're trapped on a ship. It's like bottle episodes. So yeah, I want the mainstream to be good. I like if we keep giving up and throwing our hands up in the air and walking away from everything, then they win. They win every single time. And we don't win. And we don't get good entertainment. Our culture goes down the drain. And then we're off in our little corner just reading old stuff. I want to see new and different stories. And there's a ton that can be told. It's just not going to be Hollywood until this stops, whenever this stops, if it stops.
I think it would even be acceptable if you had a balance between the two. Like you had, your mainstream movies that use established characters that are, they adhere to the classic sort of tropes of storytelling, and they just produce like good, solid stories that you can enjoy or that everyone can enjoy. But you've also got your ones that, if you're this way inclined, they can give you all the social justice you could handle or all the political activism that you could ever want, and put them against each other. And let's just see which one people prefer. Let's see which one does well. But they'll never do that because we know exactly which one would do well, and that can't be allowed. So you just have to subvert everything and have this whole thing take over every mainstream property, every mainstream franchise, until they've all just been kind of bulldozed into the ground.
And it really feels like a corruption, because if we were all reset and put on Earth 2, storytelling would develop again, because humans fucking love this shit. We love telling stories. But all of the sort of like points you got to make about society and stuff, it's not going to develop the same way on Earth 2, because we'll all be reset in different places and stuff. So it would be a different kind of corruption eventually. But yeah, it would be cool to have one section, just a small section maybe in Hollywood, where it's like, you guys, you just got to do it without, it sounds kind of stupid, right? It's like you set up a group of people, no agenda, you guys. They'd be like, okay, we won't put any of ourselves into it, because you kind of, to a degree, you do want it, like a creator to have their own ideas put in and stuff. But my God, I think we've gone way too far at this point. People, they may as well look at the screen half the time. The characters, a little thumbs up and the message on a little placard. Because I'm just thinking of Falcon right now. I can't get him out of my head. That whole speech was amazing.
That was next level cringe, and it was
to nothing to say.
It was to the point where it's like it felt like it should have been a meme. Like that level of like lack of awareness. Like, you need to do better, Senator. Like, I can't believe you're actually putting this into your script.
It could have been in a Naked Gun movie.
Yeah.
He gives this huge speech to all of the government officials at the end, and they're like, "What do you want us to do?" And he's like, "Better. You have to do better."
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'd all laugh because it would be funny.
I mean, I think that's the one thing I would give Loki a little bit of credit for. It wasn't so obnoxiously in your face as Falcon and the Winter Soldier was, but it was just a badly written show in general.
I was going to say they annihilated Loki as a character.
Yep.
And not even because it's just multiple ways. His combat experience is just in the toilet. His just values about what should and shouldn't be done. It's completely changed. And sentimentality. The one character criticized for having zero sentimentality now probably has the most.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. Obviously, they shouldn't have been allowed to call the show Loki. His name is
Sylvie, really, isn't it? It's her show, essentially. He's just there to watch her be awesome.
Those people praising that last episode. It was like 5 minutes of content in there.
Yeah, I saw people. I just shake my head. Like that was
what the hell are they praising?
It was a middle finger. They just you're a sucker. Like, they know you're a sucker. Then you're going to come back for more. We didn't know, like, this. They have not announced, like, none of these series were meant to be multiple seasons. They was always supposed to be one-off. So I guess, I mean, we're getting a second season of Loki. Great. That was their stinger. I certainly hope so after that. But I mean, by next season, Kang is going to be in Ant-Man. Like, I don't even care. Kang was such a terrible character at the end.
He was awful. The actor did a terrible job with him. They had him eating a fucking apple. Like, look, that's never been done before on screen. Like, so inventive.
You know what's funny about that, Gary? I don't know if you remember, but so I was watching it with Fringy, who relatively recently finished Buffy and Angel. We saw the apple, and we were like, "Are you kidding me? You're doing blah blah." And then I was like, "You remember when in the first episode of Angel season 5, Eve, the character Eve, is talking to Angel for a while about basically the deal that they've made."
Yeah.
And right at the end of it, she goes, "And by the way, just so that we get it out of the way," she picks up an apple off the table and throws it at him. That's it. That's Joss Whedon's version of being like, "Yeah, we're doing that. You get it."
Yep.
Like, it's not. But this guy's like, "I'm simply eating it. Do you get it?" It was old in the 2000s, is my point, to be like, "Look, it's an apple." Ooh.
It was old in the 2000s, in the 80s. Mm-hmm. So we get it, and it was dumb. And I was getting weirded out by his accent. Like, it sounded, I don't know if the guy's British or not, but his vernacular was weird. It was really weird. And the way he was trying to ham it up and be hammy villain. And, like, I don't know how you play Kang either from the comic books. I think you should just play him straight, but they can't play anything straight now. So all their villains are dumb now. I mean, they wasted Taskmaster was dumb. The Iron Maiden, which nobody's heard of, and that's fine. She was dumb. That was Milena, the mom.
Uh-huh.
So they just put her alias as Iron Maiden. It's not.
Don't forget Dreykov. He was dumb as fuck as well.
He was dumb as fuck. And then, of course, Kang, who was like storytelling wise, he's a huge problem, and introducing him into the Marvel universe is a huge problem because he's kind of an omnipotent time person who has multiple copies of himself that are, different, of course, but he's got this time empire, and they still did not solve the problem that nobody has free will in the Marvel universe.
There's so many questions about that show that are just completely like left hanging. Well, it's like, how does he because he's just started out as a scientist and he discovered all these different multiverses. Okay, fine. you were able to create this creature that can devour entire realities.
We found him.
Yeah, I found him. Sorry, he was able to bend him to his will somehow.
How the fuck?
He was able to create a castle at the end of the universe beyond time and space. Okay. Somehow made himself immortal. Okay. And then he became aware of everything that was going on in the universe. Like, how do you do all this stuff? This is like god level abilities.
Yeah, I feel like you get one of them in fantasy usually. Like, I managed to figure out how to travel through multiverse. Like, okay, I will, like, maybe that one. But stumbling across a space shark that eats time and then building a castle at the end of time while you control time and timelines, you're just like, I'm so lost. You're a human from Earth, and you've done all of okay. I don't really understand how any of that happens. Friend of mine who was very invested said that it was all going to make sense. Very much all going to make sense. He knew it was going to, by the time of that last episode, and his summary was like, so you're telling me choice one was to just let everything carry on, but with those two just having their input, or to destroy everything until it all resets with Kang in control and everything's back to normal. What the fuck was the point of any of this?
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty much.
I mean,
I love how just like female Loki just says, fuck it, I'm just going to kill you. Just see what happens then.
They had to have a fight scene. That's the only reason that happened. I swear to God, they had to have a fight scene. I was watching it with Fringy, and I was like, how are they going to have a fight scene? How is this possible? There's no one to fight. And then she just gets insanely angry and wants to, because some people are like, it's justified. She wanted to kill him. It's like, I don't think you understand. She's just been told she has the keys to the universe, or she can destroy it in a sense. And it's like, she's not thinking about it at all. And she's supposed to be way smarter than Loki at this point in the show, according to the writers.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even seem to notice that's the choice. She's just angry. She's like, I want to kill him. Nah. Okay.
Yeah. And this is the person who has consistently had the plan when Loki has had nothing, because Loki is dumb now. You know, every single time they're matched up against each other, he has no fucking clue what he's supposed to be doing, and he always ends up deferring to her. And then you find out even she is just dumb as fuck when the script needs her to be.
Yeah, I am more dumbfounded by people liking it. That's the thing that's like, wow. The strength of the Marvel, it reminds me of The Force Awakens. Like, after I watched The Force Awakens and I didn't like it, everybody loved it. I thought I was taking crazy pills, and I'm like, maybe I'm just out of touch now. I was just ready to give up. I was like, man, maybe I'm just old. I hit it. Everybody hits it at some point. But no,
it's Hiddleston. I think Hiddleston is a really good actor, and he's very engaging. People like the Loki character, and
the money too, man. Like all the special effects.
Yeah, it's big and flashy, and it's probably, the premise is inventive enough that people are like, "Ooh, it's clever and smart and different." It's like, no, it's not. It's just the same Marvel shit.
Yeah, it's getting really lame. I've seen people describe it as an awesome like romp through time and space with Owen Wilson and Loki, and it's like that happens for half an episode, if not just the one, where those two go to a place. Like, I don't even know why people see the whole show that way. Like, every episode is pretty much different in terms of like the format, and you're just always sitting there waiting for like, what is this show exactly? And then you hit the last episode, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that's it.
Episode 5 was in like ridiculous levels of insanity. Like, you know, Owen Wilson, like female Loki gets transported into the realm where everything's just getting eaten up by the big monster thing. Owen Wilson just shows up in a van, and he just knew that she was there. He knew that he had to pick her up and tell her to come with him and drive away from this thing. How did any of this stuff happen?
Well, there's the thing. I've seen people say this, like, it doesn't make no sense anymore. Kang had it all go this way because he wanted to get them to his house. But it's like, why would you have it go all of this way instead of just fucking teleport them there? Whatever. Just be like, yeah, you know what? I want to... Oh, for some reason, Lord of Time and Space, who've been controlling this for billions upon billions of years for all we know, I want you two to decide whether or not I should continue? Why?
Isn't it great as well? They get to that point where he pauses for a moment and he goes, oh, this is it. We've crossed the threshold between the bits that I can predict and the bits that I can't, and now anything could happen. Wow, isn't that convenient? So that you don't know what the characters are going to do either, and neither does the audience.
Why is he doing that? Like, what? I don't understand. Why he should know better than they do about what choice to. Does he just get entertainment from the fact of I'm just going to leave it up to this random two people out of the trillions and trillions of people I could leave it up to? Why? I don't get it.
None of it makes sense. It's
It
just
didn't really-
garbage.
Yeah, it was, especially in that 5th episode when they described how hard it was to get out of the end of time or whatever, and like everybody just dies here, and then it was just we can leave, and I got the little portal thing. I can just
Tempad does it.
Yeah, Tempad can get you out of there like any other place. I was like, I feel like this place is kind of unique. Like time and space don't apply here, so a Tempad shouldn't even work. And they give the other Lokis a chance to leave, and they're like, "Nah, we're gonna stay because this is our home now." Like, why? This isn't your home. You should absolutely want to leave this horrifying nightmare of a place.
I thought they were almost going to say we were only contracted for 1 episode. That's why we have to leave.
Yeah. When all the Lokis betrayed each other and started fighting, it was the most comical, like disrespectful garbage you could imagine. Like it was played for absolute laughs.
They've deconstructed Loki completely now, and they're proud of themselves. You can tell. It's like, so Loki is a character that screws himself over by backstabbing all the time, and he's really an insecure little boy who doesn't understand that hurting people doesn't get you respect and fame, even though that's the way he thinks it's done. Now he's grown up, and he understands that you should be more careful, you should care about people, and you should fight for what's right. And the writer's just sitting there like, I've done a great job. You just sit there like, I don't think you understand why antagonists are compelling if you just label them all as entirely wrong and insecure, pathetic. This is like, yeah, that's great. Good job.
Awesome. Yeah, the Avengers sure wasted their time. They got their asses beat by a little scared boy.
Yeah.
I think this is the intention, though, to deconstruct any iconic character down to like the level of you're just a pathetic moron. That we can laugh at. There's nothing interesting or unique or cool about you. You're just all front. You're just an act.
So after Marvel does the impossible, they turn Iron Man and Captain America, who were like C/B list characters in the comic books, into household names as big as Superman and Batman. And then they just toss it away like it's disposable after that.
And if you guys remember, when Phase 2 was happening, a lot of the criticism was Marvel's villains. So Marvel's soundtrack aren't good enough. Their plot line's too similar. Starting to get a lot of that comedy drama format happening. And then the big one, the only good villain so far has been Loki. It's funny that I don't think they realized what they did when they destroyed him. So it's like Loki was he was a foundational point for the MCU. People took him seriously as a villain because the rest of them kind of sucked. Like, if you remember, Iron Man 1 fought Big Iron Man at the end, and it wasn't very well motivated, Obadiah Stane.
Mm-hmm.
Then Whiplash, and that's like a notoriously rocky production, and even Mickey Rourke hated it or something, they like butchered his character, like the studio and stuff. Then Thor, he got Loki, and it was like, oh, that one was interesting. He's all about family. So it was like, what did Cap get? It's like Red Skull. Red Skull was fine, but he was just more of a like, just I am super evil, want to take over the world sort of thing.
I wish there was more of it, but they were too afraid to go all in with.
Yeah. And this is the thing. I'm saying this, and I'm realizing, like, man, back then we were like, these villains aren't good enough. They're so much better than what we're getting now.
Oh yeah, Red Skull is a top tier Marvel villain, like a foil for Cap, like right up there with Doctor Doom, with Loki, and they,
I was always hoping to see him in one of the later movies.
Yep.
And I know you kind of get him in Endgame, but it's
Well,
not really Red Skull. It's just like
wasn't part of the problem that the actor, blanking on his name, he didn't want to come back because he hated the prosthetics.
Yep.
Hugo Weaving. Yeah.
That's it, yeah. It was really unfortunate.
But he's your dependable like movie villain actor, isn't he? Hugo Weaving.
Yeah.
Like he's done so many. But he's done good guys as well. He could play Elrond. So
there was also a lot of trouble with productions. And I don't know if that was Ike Perlmutter but he's not there for the day-to-day. Kevin Feige was, Terrence Howard quit for whatever reason, who I always thought was a better roadie. And they had that troubled Hulk production. Then Thor Dark World was a troubled production.
Yeah.
They fired Patty Jenkins.
It's weird to look back at that because it's like, Oh, the MCU could have gone a couple of different directions, different things. I swear to God, if Edgar Wright had been given full freedom on Ant-Man, I really do wonder where the MCU would be right now.
Oh man, like seeing what he did with the Cornetto trilogy, to imagine what he could do with an Ant-Man movie, it would have been the perfect
We could be saying
forum for
like,
him.
we're so looking forward to Ant-Man and the Wasp 3. Like that could be, oh gosh, that could be the one that saves it. Edgar Wright's third installment.
Well,
right now everyone's like, Ant-Man and the Wasp 3. Is anyone going to go watch that?
no, no.
Yeah.
Edgar Wright that got people like Ant-Man is a dumb villain. He gets small, right? But it was that test footage that they showed at Comic-Con that he directed that won everybody over. And it's because the Ant-Man retains his power no matter how small he gets, so he can knock a guy out when he's this big. And I don't know if anybody saw the stuntman test footage. They kind of redo it in the movie, but it's great. It's freaking great, and it blew Comic-Con away. It was the talk of the weekend.
Ant-Man's ability to make himself huge, like he did in Civil War, is that something that was in the comics as well, or is that just made up for the movies?
Hank Pym can be it's not, it's Scott Lang, but yes, he can become giant, small and giant.
Ant-Man, right?
So he's Ant-Man, Giant Man, and then Yellow Jacket. He becomes Yellow Jacket at some point.
Right. But yeah, like Ant-Man and the Wasp just felt like a completely unfocused movie where Scott was just a background character in his own film, like just completely wasn't about him anymore.
I think people associate Ant-Man and the Wasp as a little mini episode between the films. Like it's just this weird little thing. You could watch it if you want. It gives you like a little bit of something. But nobody's favorite film on the planet.
Yeah.
No, and how they get, I think about it. They're getting a third movie, and Doctor Strange like barely got a second.
Yeah.
We'll
be lucky if Scott manages to stay alive or relevant.
I think he might be the one they hang on to. They're probably going to get rid of Benedict Cabbage Patch, and I think this is Hemsworth's last go.
I worry about.
I am not excited about Love and Thunder in the slightest. Just like I think Taika Waititi comes across as kind of an asshole, and I think what he did with Thor Ragnarok was good up to a point. Like it definitely needed to be less stodgy and take itself less seriously, but he kind of went way too far in that direction and just kind of turned Thor into an object of mockery.
I don't know if I'd go that far myself. I do agree that we could have used more scenes that, like, 'cause it almost is every scene has comedy in it. There's barely a scene that calms down. I always felt that it's redeemed a little bit if you watch it side by side with Infinity War and you get that Thor and Rocket scene. It really helped my perception of how Ragnarok fit in. But watching Asgard explode and they make a joke out of it is a little tough to swallow.
Yep.
It's like, really though? And it's like, yeah, we got all the people. It's like, yeah, you got all your... Imagine watching your home country explode. It's like, you've got all your people though. It's like, I know I do. But like, I don't know. It's a bit much, yeah.
And the amount of times he goofs around in the movie, like he does that thing like, oh, this is what heroes do, and he throws the ball out the window and knocks himself out. It's like, oh, come on, that's just taking it too far. You're just turning this guy into an absolute clown at this point.
Well, all I would say about that is he still ends up being the one that takes action to win. As much as he teams up with other people, I'm much more happy with that than he throws it in the wall and hits himself, and then someone else saves the day or something. He's still strong. And Hela is stronger than him, which I'm assuming is that the same way in the comics?
Yeah,
because she's the god of death, right? Which I guess it's going to be pretty big beef.
But he's able to beat her in the comic books though, and not like they had to trick it. Like I listen. Your hero's got to beat the bad guy. Your hero's got to beat the bad guy, and now this is becoming a thing because we saw it in Ragnarok. We've seen it in Falcon and Winter Soldier. A Vision did not help Wanda in any way at their little battle at the end. He fought himself, and then we didn't get it in Loki, and we didn't get it in Black Widow. Like Yelena killed freaking Harvey Weinstein off.
Yeah.
Black Widow just stopped fighting. She she got her ass kicked by a bunch of Black Widows, and then she ripped the helmet off of the taskmistress and stopped fighting, basically.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that's because we're going forward with Yelena. We're not going forward with Natasha. Fuck Natasha. She's done. We don't need her anymore.
This was a passing of the torch kind of movie. This was, not to quote that red letter media meme over and over again, but it's like, just consume this product and get excited for the next product.
Well,
that's really all these things are structured around.
Wasn't it your stream, Gary, with someone in your chat came up with something fantastic? They said it wasn't a passing of the torch, it was a torching of the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is so much more apt.
So apt. And that's what the Hawkeye series is going to be too. Passing the torch, Kate Bishop.
So is this going to be the end of Hawkeye? Basically,
Yep.
Okay.
So I still feel never really got his time.
Never.
He was only ever you could tell he was like his probably peak of being cared about by the movie he's in was probably Age of Ultron, and it didn't go well, unfortunately.
I think he was at his coolest in the first Avengers movie, because that's when he was introduced, and it's like, oh, he was a bit of an unknown quantity, and he was quite awesome. And when he was possessed,
he was half cringe in Age of Ultron. Do you remember the line where they're like, "You're like the heart of the group," and he was like, "What?"
Yeah. I think in that movie they tried to like reconcile the fact that he was the weakest one with what he had to do, and so you get that line where it's like, we're fighting an army of robots and the city is flying and I've got a bow. None of this makes any sense. Like, that's
the thing. I do like a lot of the stuff with him in that film, and I was going to say I'm pretty sure it was because Joss felt a little bit guilty, because I think I'm blanking out. Jeremy Renner was like, man, wasn't really great to be in like only a third of the movie as Hawkeye, and then the rest of it I was like evil mind controlled dude who's barely doing anything, while everyone else was the full Avengers doing everything. And so Joss was like, okay, next one we're gonna make sure you get, and we go to Hawkeye's house with Hawkeye's family, talking about how Hawkeye is very important. Hawkeye gets injured at the beginning and healed. Hawkeye is the one that convinces Scarlet Witch to fight. Hawkeye is involved in almost every event. And it's just like, Hawkeye, I get it. Hawkeye's important, I guess. It just felt really heavy-handed at that point.
Yeah. If they're able to pull off like Batman fighting big stuff, they can do it with Hawkeye if they just made him like he was in the comic books, who was kind of, he's not like a good guy. He's a former bad guy. So, and he's very skilled at what he does and kind of ruthless. I thought they were almost going to do that for a minute in Infinity War when they had him, be Ronin for a second, which was the coolest costume, but no.
That was really a bait. They didn't really.
No. It was. They never knew what to do with them. They just knew he was an Avenger and he had to be in there. And they obviously, like, they try to tell you they have plans. They don't have plans for this shit. They make it up as they go and they change it. If you go back and look at Kevin Feige announcing titles, they announced the Captain America was never supposed to be Civil War. The third one, that was a change of plan.
Well, everyone saw that as the apology for Age of Ultron in a way, as an Avengers movie.
Yeah,
because like I just remember that being the vibe, and obviously it competed with BVS as the big conflict: Iron Man versus Cap versus Batman versus Superman.
And they're still doing it. They're going to beat them to the multiverse punch, which is a multiverse is something when you're just absolutely out of ideas. Like they finally, DC went there, after decades of making comics. And then Marvel did it after decades of making comics, and it's supposed to be like a fun gag event that's not supposed to have any like real impact on anything. It's like, what if, they might as well do a Marvel and DC crossover at this point.
Yeah.
Oh God, wouldn't that be a nightmare if Disney bought DC? Holy shit.
Supergirl, Captain Marvel. There you go. The one we're waiting for.
Who's excited to see? Who's excited to see Marvel's version, or sorry, Disney's version of Blade? That's going to be something special.
We're all going to rewatch the original, and then we'll watch the new one, and we're all going to be very upset.
Yeah,
that's all it's going to be.
Yeah,
the R-rated part is probably. Have they said what they're doing with that? Is that confirmed yet? Because it's going to have to be not R-rated, isn't it?
Are not going to do R-rated movies for Marvel.
It was in your video, Gary, of course, mentioning, because we were just talking about how Hawkeye. You just said he's an ex-bad guy. the R-rated Hawkeye and Black Widow movie that will never exist. That's the one we all want. And
Yeah.
we all want it. And
See what happened to them in Budapest.
young. They're both younger. Like they're in their prime and they're ruthless. And we want to see that shit. And of course, Hawkeye is sent after her because she's renowned. She's like impossible to catch and kill, and he gets the break on her. That movie, we can all kind of see it, but it will never exist.
Yep. Yeah. And it's such a layup. It's easy. You know, it can even be expensive, but we can't make that because the same reason why they specifically said they didn't put Robert Downey Jr. in Black Widow because they didn't want one of the boys helping her out.
Because he's more interesting than she is. Well, that's the thing. Like, and it's the same why they didn't put Doctor Strange into WandaVision. It's like we can't have him showing her how to do stuff. It's like, yeah, but he's the guy that you would absolutely bring in a situation like that.
He's called the Sorcerer Supreme.
These stupid goals keep fucking up the storylines because now it's going to be like, how do you justify why Doctor Strange didn't show up in all of WandaVision? How are you going to do that? And it's like he was busy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He was busy being white. It's like it's a curse, you see. It's getting cringe if it's like literally said by the creators now instead of it being something we infer as well. It's getting really bad.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. Or when the audience is outsmarting them before their stuff comes out, that is bad. When everybody and their mother, like Normie mom probably said, yeah, I knew the Taskmaster was a woman. You know, it's like, that's bad. It's bad. We're there already.
I can't tell you if there was anybody I talked to online who didn't have that assumption. It was like everybody did.
Everybody did. I think absolutely. I think we might have questioned on who it was going to be because at first I thought it was going to be Rachel Weisz just because, you know, have one of them betray, but that would have made too much sense. No, just have it be some random daughter.
It was the fact that they kept mentioning the daughter that Natasha blew up, but then you never saw her get killed. You never obviously Taskmaster's identity is hidden throughout the whole movie. Yeah, that clued me in pretty quickly. It's like, it's the person you feel guilty about. And you're going to have to face them and face your demons. Okay.
I wish they'd handled all of that with so much more care, because it's so annoying to now know that when Hawkeye spared her and they killed Dreykov, he went, so is that it? And she went, yeah. And he was like, there's nothing else? She's like, well, there's this whole Red Room organization that trains girls from all over the world into indoctrinating them into assassins, but I'm sure that'll just sort itself out. And you might think to yourself, like, no, that's not the storyline. It's like, pay attention, watch the scene. Why didn't you check in on me? And Natasha's like, I thought you got out. I just
assumed.
It's just and what do you do with that as a viewer other than go like, so that's not Natasha. She wouldn't. If she's got the resources of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Avengers, and she's aware of this institution and organization that's horrible, that she would hate because of her history, you tell her to do anything.
And poses a genuine threat to the security of the world. Like, this is like Hydra 2.0, essentially.
But they had to say, well, we killed Dreykov, so why would the Red Room still exist? It's just a dumbass.
Yeah. How did S.H.I.E.L.D. and SWORD and the Avengers miss the giant floating city above Russia?
Well, obviously, Gary, it's because it's in the clouds. I mean,
it's
never going to be able to see it that way.
Yes.
Yeah, like so many. I love the fact that David Harbour's character just becomes a completely different person from the intro to later on in the film.
He's
literally, there's nothing to connect those two men.
Yeah, I can't remember if we talked about it, but when they told me that he managed to sabotage the entire facility for Hydra working on whatever and steal his information, it's like, no, he didn't. Like, not this guy. This guy you're showing me in the second half. And it's like, yeah. What do you mean? It's like the first half guy. It's just like, yeah, it's just a different character. He's a different guy.
Yeah, I mean, you see him initially, and he's playing the part of the American dad. He's caring towards his daughters. He's competent at combat and everything. He's very controlled. And then you just get this goofy, ridiculous clown in the second part of the movie, and he's just there's nothing to connect those two people at all.
You can have him be disheveled or whatever, but to the point where he literally he's just like one brain cell. It's like, yeah, okay. I'm really tired of everybody being stupid in these movies.
Yeah.
Just one competent character, please.
Well, there's only one there's only one like group of people that's overtly stupid in these movies, and we know who. Like,
Well, you know,
and we
I'll
know
go
why.
further and say, like, it's the same thing as when they try and write good people and bad people. They end up fucking reversing it by accident. But I honestly think they write stupid people, and yes, they're stupid because it's really hard to write a stupid person. It's really easy to write a stupid person. Hard to write an intelligent person, I think, if you're a stupid person, which I think you said in your Loki video, right, Drake?
Yeah. Like a
so,
character's only ever as smart as the person writing them,
And so if
that's
they're
what
like,
we go
aha,
with.
you know, Yelena, Melina, Alexi, well, not Alexi, but and Natasha, they're smart characters. And I watch what they have them do in these movies, and I'm like, they are not smart characters. They may be smarter than Alexi, sure, but like,
Well, it's the same with morality as well, where it's like in WandaVision, oh, Wanda's a good character. Like nothing that she does in that show bears that out in the slightest. She's a horrible person.
I mean, yeah, when she's told of the horrors, remember they say when we sleep we have your nightmares, and she just goes, no, it's fine. No, you'll be fine. It's like, uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like a person who's screaming at her like, "Please, just kill us."
That one was one where I just don't even get what the writers were thinking. It's like you don't want us hearing that from Wanda's victims. Please just end our lives. Like you want to avoid that.
This is what we've got now. You know, this is this weird disconnect between what they're trying to do and what they actually present to us. I don't know what it is. It's like doublethink.
It's crazy, man. I never would have thought that the MCU would end up here, and we're just starting.
Yeah, so quickly. It happened so quickly.
I remember watching the first few episodes of WandaVision, and I was like, you know what? Phase 4 could be all right. Could be all right.
It was intriguing. It started off with this cool, like quirky little concept. It's like, oh, okay, it's presented as a 1950s sitcom, and it's going through the decades. I kind of like this. The little hints that there's something more sinister at play here. That was all very good, and yeah, it just evolved into your usual CGI crap fest.
They wanted us to celebrate that she trapped Agatha in an infinite puppeteering act.
Yeah.
When I hate to do this to you, Gary. Once again, I'm going to keep doing it because it's just my thing at this point. Do you remember there's an episode in Angel season 5? This happens probably in loads of shows, but there's a guy. He's basically able to turn himself into a horrible ghost spirit thing if he dies, and he can torment people infinitely. They managed to corporealize him, and they don't know what to do with him. An Angel with Wolfram and Hart commit to putting him in stasis, where he can still see, still consume everything, and still he exists, but he's stuck and he can't do anything whatsoever. Mm-hmm. The episode ends with a shot zooming in on him slowly as he's basically configured with very music that's very creepy. Basically, like, this guy's existence is horror, and was what Angel just did a good choice or a bad choice? You decide. Meanwhile, this show is like, yeah, we got Agatha. Screw you. It's like, whoa. The same thing. I assume you guys have both seen Jay's video. The Doctor in the season, was it 12 or 11? She congratulates them for trapping the villain in an infinite stasis.
After she chewed them out for wanting to kill him. They want to kill the villain, but no, the stasis thing is so much better. Forever.
The writers don't know what that means to be trapped forever in a. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Come on, viewers, clap."
Yeah, please clap. They're so out of touch now morally. They don't know. These are perplexing questions for sociopathic narcissists, which is who's writing these things now.
Well, I think that's when you used to get shows like TNG, which dealt with really interesting moral questions and actually made you think about it and had the characters agonize over what was the right thing to do and try to come up with intelligent answers. You just don't get that nowadays.
No, and I think the real answer, yes, they are narcissists, but I think the real answer is they just don't take the source materials seriously. Like this is a job that they took that's great on their resume, but they've never read the comic books, and these things are silly. Somebody called the Taskmaster. That's silly. You know what? No, we don't think it's silly. And you can actually make it pretty serious and pretty something with stakes, something with danger. But no, that's what would. And so they just don't treat it with any respect, and it shows.
Yeah, I feel like Shane Black had that attitude with Mandarin. It's like, that guy's kind of silly. 10 rings of power. Okay. He does magical spells. All right. Would it be funnier if it was a man named Travis Slattery who farts?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, yeah.
Yeah. There's no, yeah. I think this speaks to a wider problem in any kind of action movie or comic book movie or anything nowadays. There's no sense of earnestness. There's no sense of taking it seriously. It's all cloaked in like this kind of ironic eye roll kind of, oh, isn't this all a bit dumb? But like, we'll just go along with it for now anyway. And you're like, all of that thing, it just kills all sense of immersion. It kills all sense of stakes. Like the writers of the show or the movie, they're kind of encouraging you to just mock it as you're appreciating it at the same time, and it doesn't work. Like older movies, if it was an action film or whatever, there might be the occasional bit of like, wink wink to the camera sort of thing, but like they generally took themselves fairly seriously, and you were encouraged to take them seriously as well, and get invested in what was going on. I mean, I feel like now that's not allowed to happen, and so there's always that disconnect there between you and what's going on.
Yep. And that's it's just going to get worse as it goes on. The less they care, because I mean, Kevin Feige even came on and said it like that. We're popularity in comics doesn't matter to us anymore. We're going to do our thing, which is just you're just getting away from your source material. What made it popular? And all of a sudden they think it's because of us. It's popular, not because of these characters and the stories behind them. And it'll take a while for the normies to catch on. This is a strong brand. It'll be a year or so, but if they keep cranking out shit like this, the normies will find some other bright light, shiny light to follow, or something else will come along. But it's clearly at its end. This is the worst storytelling I've seen, and the storytelling was pretty good. It's never been like, at times it's had moments of greatness, but it's always been competent.
Yeah, it just feels like it's kind of weird era.
Is there not like this whole like the whole like 4 stages of genre? You've got like the initial kind of like fight, like where a genre is finding its feet, like in the case of comic books, like the early attempts at like comic book movies. Then you get like to the golden age where they really find their groove. They found that rhythm. They found the style that works. Then they start like, they've played that out. So then it becomes like, they start to like subvert it. They start to like revise it. They start to like say, oh well, these heroes that you used to cheer for, they're not really heroes after all. These villains aren't really villains. And then the last stage is when you just get to the parody, where you're just mocking what you used to do, and it just becomes like this joke of what you used to have before. And that's when the genre dies. And it kind of feels like that's where we're at now.
Yeah, it feels like we're almost at the tail end of the subversive part, because we've done so many examples already, and they've not even been, as far as I'm concerned, that interesting. Like, obviously, The Boys is going to be coming out with its 3rd season, which I'm pretty sure is going to be the one that everyone hates, like, on its face. Probably be much more overt with how shitty. I actually, speaking of The Boys, remember that tweet you made, Drinker, about there's just movies we can't make anymore. Yeah, it's such a shame. And of course, I think, and I'm sure many do, that Tropic Thunder is just one of those ones where it's like, good God, not happening, never happening. I got quote tweeted by several people saying like, you're an idiot, The Boys exists. And I was like, have you watched The Boys versus Tropic Thunder? The Boys doesn't have the balls to use like swear words, words, slurs, I guess, or whatever. It's afraid to. Tropic Thunder didn't fear anything. It was just like, we're going to do whatever the heck we want.
Tropic Thunder now, it almost feels like a watershed movie. It was like the last stand of like, not offensive comedy. That's probably the wrong word, but like comedy that just didn't give a fuck, and it was just out to make jokes and make you laugh, and it didn't care about whether or not it was acceptable.
To give you like an idea of the time as well, it got in more trouble for using the word retard than anything else. Tropic Thunder, when it came out.
Yeah,
because they used it a lot, and a lot of the comedy's based on making fun of retarded people. And you're just like, oh yeah, because nowadays they're going to be way too distracted by the obvious, being Robert Downey Jr. in blackface. Which,
Well,
how would
yeah,
that ever happen again? It's just not going to.
I know, and like the comments on it are great because it's like every few years, like another generation discovers that Robert Downey Jr. did blackface in Tropic Thunder and get mad about it and try and cancel him. It's like,
Tropic Thunder wasn't doing gender swaps with characters for agenda either, like the boys did. And I would answer back to that guy. The boys can't even adapt their own comic anymore. They skipped so much for political correctness. They changed the entire first season for political correctness. So Tropic Thunder wasn't holding back at all. So no, you can't make it anymore. And the boys is very safe.
When you have the characters crash into a whale and they're inside all of its flesh, shooting off every swear word possible right before getting hearts punched out, and you know, fly. Like, to me, I'm just like, yeah, okay, you've got you. Like, you know, I'm not trying not to be too harsh. This was just like still a bit edgy to me. I'm just like, yeah, good for you. You can do that. If someone said, oh, but the blackface for Robert Downey Jr. is not edgy, I'd be like, so the idea with that, and it's why a lot of people love it, was that he was a method actor taking it to the fullest extreme, to the point of literally changing his skin pigmentation. And by the end of the movie, he starts to wonder who he even is because he keeps playing all of these characters to a certain depth. I was like, that's a great joke. It's a great commentary, and it dresses down really high and mighty actors to a degree, being played by Robert Downey Jr. It's like, there's something there. It's not just, look, it's blackface, lol.
No, it was riffing on the idea of Hollywood as well, like casting big name actors that are totally inappropriate for the role, but just like putting them in anyway, and like that's the ridiculous levels he has to go to of like getting his skin pigmentation changed rather than just getting an actual black actor to play the role. You know,
doing the voice.
Yeah. What do you mean, you people?
And the whole Simple Jack thing. And yeah, it was clowning Hollywood, you know. Simple Jack was great.
I think it came directly out of it too. Because all those guys are very established. You're just like, this is cool. You can kind of make fun of yourselves to a degree. I like it. But that was it.
We need to do a stream on Tropic Thunder one day. It'll be glorious.
You should get a whole bunch of people for that one. That's a movie everyone loves.
Yeah, and honestly, it would be like 5 hours long because we would just be going over all the gags and stuff and just laughing our asses off.
Just Jack Black constantly trying to like take his drugs. I don't know if it was a coke or whatever. And they're like, what is that? He's like, it's just jelly beans. It's like, oh man, can I have a jelly beans? No, you can't have any fucking jelly beans. Because again, he's commenting on like he got popular with comedy and he's gotten down a road of drugs. He's obsessed and it's ruining his life. It's just like, yeah, these are all different sort of actor journeys, and they're making fun of all of them.
Yeah. Great movie.
Listen,
I was just going to say, like, I don't think I'm going to get through all the super chats tonight because there's a hell of a lot there, and it's already like 1 a.m. or something here. So I might actually just kind of finish up with that roundabout now, and I'll just do a catch up stream tomorrow or something to do them all.
All right.
But yeah, man, like, thank you to Gary and to MauLer for dropping in for this. It was unexpected, but it's always a pleasure to have you on. And Gary, thanks for...
It's always fun to have a chat.
Oh, hell yeah. This was great. I hope the chat liked it. I had a good time.
Yeah.
I think they did. And to chat, thank you guys for tuning in for this stream. Thank you for like all the awesome super chats. And yeah, if there's ones obviously that I've missed, I will get through them all tomorrow, so they'll all be addressed. But yeah, thank you to all you guys. And I guess we'll catch you at the next one. But for now, I guess that's all we got. So we're going to go away.
See you.